Trump plans to impose 50% tariffs on imports from Brazil and condemns the prosecution of the former Brazilian president.
Brazil's insidious attacks on free elections, President Trump says, is part of the reason he's imposing a 50% tariff on the country's imports next month. He announced that rate in a letter, but it differs from letters sent to other U.S. trading partners, instead singling out the trial of former President Jair Bolsonaro. Bolsonaro is accused of attempting a coup after he lost re-election in 2022. President Trump has described the investigation as a witch hunt that should end immediately. Dozens of other trading partners are also being told of new charges as part of a reciprocal tariff plan first outlined in April. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
6 Secret Service agents are given suspensions without pay or benefits over the Trump assassination attempt in Pennsylvania a year ago this coming Sunday. The suspensions are reported to be 10 to 42 days with diminished duties after. There are more rescues today of people in the water for more than 48 hours after their ship sank, attacked by Houthi rebels. At least 3 crew members are dead.
Rescue workers have pulled at least 6 crew members alive from the Red Sea. The Greek-operated cargo ship Eternity Sea was attacked by Yemen-based Houthis on Monday night. It was hit by rocket-propelled grenades fired from small boats. The Iran-backed Houthis say they attacked the Eternity Sea because it was heading to Israel. The U.S. Embassy in Yemen reports the Houthis have kidnapped several crew members. On Sunday, the rebel group launched missiles and drones at another Liberian-flagged Greek-operated cargo ship, eventually causing it to sink. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
Ukraine's President Zelensky says at least 2 people are killed, 16 injured in an overnight drone and missile attack by Russia in the capital Kyiv, a day after what's described as the largest aerial attack of the war so far. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Subaru of Gwinnett. You'll love the difference. The Morning Xtra, only on Extra 106.3.
1MC. Morning, y'all.
That's right.
You can almost see the weekend from your tippy toes.
That's right.
This is Tug. Tug.
I feel like I'm being mocked a little bit this morning for some reason. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why.
Poor Tug, he sat down in his chair, and everything was comfortable for about 10 seconds. And then his chair started sinking down. It's another broken one.
And it leaned forward.
We're 20 seconds from the start of the show, and he's scrambling around looking for a chair. I told him, I'll handle this.
And I love the fact that he broke out the 1MC. There's not many people that would get that right.
I don't know.
1MC.
I don't know what that doesn't register with me.
That is the ship's announcement. Communications. It's the loudspeaker aboard the ship. It's called the 1MC.
What's up?
There you go.
I've been studying my naval history.
That's right, he has.
That is good.
There's a documentary somewhere that Lowe's has watched.
Listen, I got respect for my man. I want to make sure we do it the right way.
That's right.
What is it about the radio business that makes us so destructive on office chairs? I've been in so many offices in my life, and I feel like in radio in particular, our chairs get destroyed.
Yeah, I think every one of them's broke. It looks like you're leaning forward a little bit, to be honest
Mine's a little bit awkward.
Yeah, but they're all wonky.
I mean, granted, we're in them, depending. Okay, for the course of the day.
So what are you going to do, stand up? What's the alternative? Sit in the broke chair, stand up.
Between our 4 hours, between what Kimmer's going to do this afternoon, and then obviously this studio will be used a handful of times, probably 9 or 10 hours of people just sitting in these chairs.
Yeah. A lot of use, a lot of mileage on these things.
Yeah.
It's not a Dickey broadcasting thing. This is industry-wide.
Industry-wide. The chairs in studios are always very questionable.
Yeah, they are. And they just bought, they got them for the sales pit and the rooms over there,
and I don't mean to brag about this radio station. We are not, as a group, men of size.
No, yeah,
like
we're
in
all,
sports, sometimes you get a lot of three bills kind of guys that are sitting in those chairs. That's not the case with this radio station.
Yeah, we're all pretty
average, normal dudes.
Normal, average, regular folks. But I don't know what it is. But they just got new chairs for like the sales pit and the conference rooms and things. But they did not get them for the studios, which I still to this moment don't understand.
Which is great because, and we even still have some left over. It's just like we don't have any one chair that's entirely 100% serviceable, but we got a lot of extra chairs.
We went and collected them. They put them in the hallway and they were free to anybody if you wanted to take one of the old chairs. And we went, well, upgrades.
Yeah, right. Let's bring them in here. Let's take what might work just a little longer.
1MC. We're going to need some more chairs in here at some point.
Tug Coward is sinking.
That's right. I'm
on the life
no kidding. I'm telling you, all I heard was, I could feel, but it was so slow. It took me a second to realize what was happening. I could just hear the of the, whatever that
hydraulic.
Tug just had that
shock
moment
is in the middle.
Where he just gave me that look, and he's like, I'm sinking.
Yeah, and I'm leaning forward. I'm going to be on the ground and then spilled into the floor.
Bail.
That's right, exactly. So Los is like,
I think I'm sinking.
Got you, man. I got you.
I look up. It's 6:02:40. I'm like, okay, you've got 20 seconds to fix this problem, sir.
Yeah, and Los handled it well as always, as he does everything else. I read this morning, made me think of you immediately. Los, it is that, and this is from Vice Media, which is usually wacky and crazy.
Okay, I'm in.
The Baby Center UK top 100 baby names of 2025. In the top 25, Ted as in Bundy, Anna as in Delvey, Rose as in West. All something to do with serial killers or some sort of horrible behavior, criminal behavior.
I never thought about naming my kids after serial killers.
No, but the article goes on to say that they're not actually even doing that. The names that are just related, kind of adjacent to serial killers or heists, major crimes, because they're getting so many documentaries, people are reading about them more now than ever before because the information's available, that it's just seeping into people's psyche when they're looking for names, and so many people that are connected to crime having their names kind of climb up in the most used chart.
If you suddenly found yourself in a situation where, hey, there's another kid on the way and you decide to name it Theodore, that doesn't mean you named it after Ted Bundy.
No,
right?
No, you're right. But
Theodore, you want to talk about an old name there.
No kidding, man. This is the quote. The names aren't being chosen because of crime. More often, parents are trying to come up with name and unconsciously absorbing popular culture, and those names creep into our mindset via gripping TV, podcasts, and viral content. Because people are doing true crime content, they see it more often. It's almost just happening. It's not like they're going, I can't wait to name my kid Ted Bundy.
I need to get my pen out and start working on my all old person name team, like my all-star.
Yeah.
Like May is going to be in there.
Mabel,
but May.
Yeah, sure.
Pearl.
Yeah.
And then
when
like
they
on the
cycle
dude
back
side,
through.
I'm looking at the top 10 baby names in the U.S. for boys.
Yeah, Gus
from
is
last
good,
year.
man.
A lot of old school names. Noah, Theodore, Henry
making a comeback.
Henry for
Elijah.
Hank.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes,
But I get the biblical ones always show up on a regular basis.
sure.
Like they'll cycle every couple of years.
Yeah, we have Jacob.
But how often do you get Gus?
Yeah, not enough.
Everybody needs a Gus.
Yes.
My grandpa had a friend named Gus. And I remember the reason I could remember his name is because I loved the Disney movie Gus when I was a kid, the one with Don Knotts and the donkey that kicked footballs that was from, I don't know, Ukraine or something.
So high end.
Yeah. But Don Knotts
After that, we would watch Air Bud.
Yeah, right. No, this is when I was really young. You never seen Gus? The movie Gus?
And then Angels in the Outfield after that.
Dude, speaking of not Angels in the Outfield, but Little Big League, you know that kid from the Cubs?
Yeah.
His mama's the mama from Little Big League.
Right.
How cool is that?
How cool is that?
When I heard that, I think Jacob told me, and I was like, "What? Get out of here!" Because he loved that movie as a kid. Sure enough, I went and looked it up, and I was like, "Well, I'll be damned."
I'm looking at the cover art for the film Gus right now.
Yeah, it's good.
And the California Atoms are the worst team in the NFL. This has got some promise.
Dude, Gus is awesome. So good.
Speaking of baseball movies, though, I watched The Sandlot last weekend on 4th of July.
4th of
Classic.
July scene. That scene is the greatest cinematic 4th of July scene ever.
I just hadn't watched it in years. I'm like, I forgot. This is one of the best. This is one of the best movies. Period.
Classic. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it is. There's just nothing not good about The Sandlot. You're killing me, Smalls. So good.
All right, trivia time. How many kids did Squints and Wendy Peppercorn end up having?
7?
9.
9.
Ah, nice.
Doug got it.
Let's go.
I knew that was always at the end where you went, that's a lot.
Yeah. And let me tell you, Wendy Peppercorn, I just looked her up last weekend.
Buddy.
Because she's still a stunner.
Of course.
Dude, and Squints, man, he had
What a hero.
He
figured it out.
intestinal fortitude.
That's right.
Dude, he was like, I'm going to go pretend like I'm going to drown and make out with this girl. And then it worked.
Yep. Throws him out.
That's right.
Still gives me that little wink.
Yeah, so good, dude.
Smile.
There's nothing not good about that movie. And the fact that the kid, you had Benny the Jet Rodriguez taking the kid, the new kid, that was kind of awkward, kind of taking him under his wing. It's like that's what sports is all about.
There's something fun about the transformation of the new kid where he shows up with the horrible dumb looking hat.
Yeah, it's like a fishing with a huge bill on it.
He's wearing that exact hat with a huge bill at the end of the movie when he's calling the ball game.
The game.
Complete inability to even get anywhere near a baseball, to the point where Benny the Jet has to be like, listen, just put the glove in the air. I'll fix it from here.
And then just pops it out there and it lands right. It's genius. Everything about that movie is genius. I love it. One of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, by the way, my friend's grandfather was named Elmer.
Oh,
Another
that's
name.
nice.
That, dude, that's awesome.
And I used to joke around, like, what if and he was Elmer Hoyt, but I was like, what if his middle name was Wayne? Would that not be the most, like, perfect Southern name? Elmer Wayne Hoyt.
That's, yes. That would be.
Because everyone who's got Wayne as their middle name, like, you are subject to committing crime.
That's right. Absolutely.
Mine's kind of close. I've been told mine is kind of close.
What is
Ray?
Oh,
Jerry Ray Payne.
Oh, yeah.
The junior.
Oh, dude.
You're either a NASCAR driver or you're running some sort of criminal syndicate.
NASCAR driver.
Jerry Ray. Yeah.
1A, 1B. Probably so. Speaking of TV shows and movies.
No wonder he's got multiple cars.
Yeah.
It's in his blood.
He's stolen all of them. And then he goes and races them and takes the Speedway on the weekend.
Jerry Ray Payne Jr., he's making that hard left turn over here in turn 3. He's into the wall.
That's right. Oh, no, he's wrecked another one. He'll steal one next week. He'll be in jail for 2 weeks and then come back on the third. Well, I was just saying.
That boy can't learn.
Yeah, he just never, nothing.
But if you were Tug Wayne, then I know that you're dealing meth.
Yeah. But Jerry Wayne.
Jerry Wayne.
Yeah, because, again, I'm a Jerry too. So, yeah.
Jerry Wayne.
Jerry Wayne, get your ass in
Jerry Wayne.
Country is cornbread.
That's right. Get your ass in. My wife's been watching this TV show on Netflix. And
Which pseudo love show is it?
No, it's not. It's actually grotesque, gory murder.
What?
It's called Waterfront. Have y'all seen this one?
Okay, my wife was scanning through last night looking for programming, and that one did come across her feed.
Because I'm usually recording my little Charleston show, so I'll walk up and catch like the back half of it or something. Very, very gory. It's like a take on Ozark a little bit because it's organized crime and drugs and running drugs. But I guess it's based on a true story. I looked it up last night, based on a true story out of North Carolina, where this family got caught up in running drugs, and that's what it's all based on, loosely based on. But yeah, it's gory for no reason. Like it's just overly violent for no reason that I can tell.
Does she get all excited after that?
She does. How you doing?
You're like, put it back on.
Yeah, seriously.
Put it on tomorrow.
Can we not just binge this? This seems like it's working for everybody. But the storyline is just okay. The character development is just okay. It's not great. And it just seems gory for no reason. So she watched the last episode last night, and I watched the majority of that. And it's just, I wanted to, because you want to find something that you'll both enjoy. So when you watch it, you both enjoy the time. And it's just not good. Los, it's just not good. If you get a chance, your expert eye can tell me if I'm just missing something about this.
I don't know about expert. I did partake in the very first few minutes of the 2005 London bombings. My wife started that series. I was like, oh.
Yeah,
okay. It hooks you quick.
Well, that's
the subway.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, okay.
But that really happened. That I can get into anytime because it really happened. You reflect back. I remember when. It's easy to get sucked into that, and especially if it's good, like you're describing. This other thing, this waterfront.
I think you tell her, you keep this up, divorce is on the table.
That's right. I've already contacted lawyer.
Papers will be served.
That's right.
I watched a heist documentary. It's like a 3-part series on when over in London they had that weird Millennium Dome or whatever, and they had the Millennium Diamond in there, and it's the whole perspective from the police, it's a perspective from the bank robbers, and then a whole reenactment of the whole thing actually happening.
I like heists.
That one's good. That was worth a watch.
I don't want to hear a story about you breaking into somebody's house or, Tug's cousin stealing your rims.
And
I don't care about that. But when it's some professional who decides we're going after like a painting and it's worth $3 million,
yes,
and it's them versus the police, I love those true stories.
It's hard not to be compelled. When you're watching, you're like, oh God, which way is this
it's like you robbed a convenience store. Okay, any idiot. Like, you go after something like in the Louvre, I'm in.
Dude, because the Louvre is one of the most protected places in the world.
Yes.
I mean, they have the little thing that closes up around the Mona Lisa.
I don't know if you saw the tweet from yesterday, but there was a joke about, National Treasure 3 featuring Nick Cage, and he's going to go after the Epstein files.
Yes, I did see that tweet. Yes.
It's like, that's genius and hilarious.
Dude.
Only Nick Cage can go get the National Treasure 3.
And it's from an account you never heard of.
Yeah.
Isn't it always that way?
Yeah, just funny lines from people being
just
fun.
one off.
Yeah.
That's
but
always
heist
my favorite.
movies?
Yeah.
Okay, now heist, real world stories, in.
Yeah.
All the time.
Champion name. Do you remember the name of Nick Cage, the character that he plays in the National Treasure movies? Benjamin Franklin Gates.
Of course.
Benjamin Franklin Gates.
Benji Gates.
But that takes us full circle because Benny the Jet Rodriguez was Benjamin Franklin Rodriguez.
Yeah. The other laugh out loud moment I had during the credits of Where Are They Now is the tall kid. I can't remember his name. They just say he in the 60s had a little bit too much fun and nobody ever heard from him again.
That's right. When they were going there, that was
love that.
Which was such a smart thing to do at the end of the movie. Here's where they are. This is where they showed up because they're trying to tie it all together because Benny made it to the big leagues and Smalls is out there calling the game. With
Don't you think that kind of happened to you?
I know. But made it to the big leagues?
No. I'm talking as far as everyone else in Dalton was like, that Tug got on that ship and we never saw him again.
Yeah, there's some people probably think that, yes. Yeah, he left and he just never came back.
It's like he just never came back.
Hightailed it out of here.
We all stayed over here working on carpet.
That's right.
He got on that ship and he never came back.
Well, went to the big city.
Yeah, I see that's usually
he
what
went
it is.
to the big city.
Because some friends will reach out and be like, man, I hadn't seen you in 15 years. You ever get back home? And I'm like, not much. And I don't. It's just far enough because it's 90 minutes up there. It's just far enough to make it inconvenient. If you leave at 10, you're up there at 11:30, and then you got 3 hours, and then you got to turn around and get back home.
Can we have a point where we go up to Roadhouse?
Yeah,
just hang out.
Yeah. The El Rancho is what I surmise is the location that they based this all off of.
We're gonna go and
my Aunt Shirley worked there.
We're gonna roll in there where people still smokes with cigarettes, and just wait till after the day's over. People smell like carpet, and I'm like, that's cool. This is good.
Dude, I remember going into the El Rancho. They had the best hamburger in Dalton.
Nice.
Going in there, and my aunt worked there, and it was a biker bar is what it was.
Yeah, it's a roadside bar is what most of these things are.
And
the good ones.
Right next to the railroad tracks, not far from ConAgra, that the chicken processing and all that sort of stuff. And I remember going in there going, even as a kid, going, man, this place is... I don't feel comfortable in this place, Mama.
Okay, the best part about all those bars is once everyone's comfortable with you, there is no more comfortable place. They're
that's right.
I am one of you.
You will be
they're
protected.
They're like, you are protected in that place.
Without a doubt. It's almost like...
Take a nap on one of the pool tables, you'll be all right.
Yeah, seriously. Put that kid down over there. Let him sleep.
Oh, you want to put your cell phone on the bar with your wallet? Not a problem.
Nobody going to bother it.
Nobody's going to bother it.
That is 100% true. We never had a minute's issue in there, but I'm telling you, as a kid, you just, your radar goes up just a little bit. You're like, this seems dangerous. These people fight with pool sticks and things. They hit each other and things.
They fight with pool sticks. they settle their disputes like men.
That's right. Smashing a bottle over each other's head. It's fantastic to see it come down. And as a young man, you're like, oh, Mama, let's go. Let's get out of here. Grab the sack, Junior. We got to get out of here. When we continue on Extra 106.3, U.S. Representative Mike Collins joins us to discuss dragging Lake and Riley's family through another trial. Just hard to believe that it would even happen. Mike's next on Extra.
Extra 106.3 is Atlanta's home for NASCAR, and we have live races every weekend from across the country. Check out extra1063.com for the full schedule and join us this weekend for live NASCAR action.
I was thinking about this with the rain that's coming in, which looks like every day through Sunday. Usually, if you think it's raining, that it's going to cool things off a little bit, and by and large, that's true. The temperature goes down, but man, that humidity shoots up. You can see the steam coming off the pavement. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what that's doing on the roof of your house and the heat that it's creating? And your HVAC is just working good. It's like a hamster in a wheel just running, trying to keep up. Well, if you want that hamster to be working the whole time, if you want him to be able to actually keep up, make sure that his wheel's greased. Make sure that the wheel's taken care of. You shoot a little WD-40 in there or something. Goodness gracious, make that thing work like it's supposed to. All of that is an analogy for get your HVAC maintained so it actually functions the way it's supposed to when that steamy heat, that humidity is trying to bang on the door, trying to get through the door, trying to get through your windows, get into the house any way it possibly can, and that really cool air that you've already paid for trying to slip out the back door. Call Central Heating and Air Conditioning today, 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. Get a maintenance agreement. $10 from each agreement goes to Skyland Trail, providing expert and evidence-based treatment for those facing mental health challenges. Find a path to recovery. Help yourself. Help Skyland Trail, 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com.
Hey, Atlanta's Mark from the Safe House. I have a question for you. Am I the only person pissed off with the mainstream fake news, liberal judges,
and whiny liberal politicians
who don't realize why Donald Trump is president, and fake safes? And you may wonder, why fake safes? Well, a fake safe is like Joe Biden, cheap and ineffective. A real safe from Atlanta Safe House is like Donald Trump, tough, effective, and provides peace of mind when you need it the most. So drop by Atlanta Safe House and check out the largest selection of safes in the Southeast and see what a real safe looks like. So go to atlantasafehouse.com.
Eggland's Best, the only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best, better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Financial compliance analyst, internal auditor positions offered by Jazz Worldwide Management, Inc. in Atlanta, Georgia. Identify and document financial, operational, and compliance risks and controls. Assist in creating internal audit procedures. Perform financial, operational, and compliance internal audits. May work remotely 2 days per week from a commutable distance to the office. Must have CargoWise professional certification. Must be willing to travel domestically 5% and internationally 25%. May work remotely 2 days per week from a commutable distance to the office. To apply, please send resume to felicia.levin@jas.com.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Thursday, July 10th. Over 100,000 baseball fans are expected to flow into Metro Atlanta this weekend as festivities for the All-Star Game begin. The first fan event starts Friday with a block party in the Battery beginning at 11 a.m. Several events will occur throughout the weekend in various locations around the city, so expect increased law enforcement and traffic The Home Run Derby happens Monday night, and the All-Star Game itself is set for Tuesday night. If you have a need for speed, watch out. Operation Southern Slowdown begins next week. The multi-state law enforcement operation will be targeting speeding and aggressive driving on highways and interstates. Last year, state and local officers issued over 12,000 citations during the operation. It'll run until July 20th. And Fulton County residents spoke out against higher tax rates at the Board of Commissioners monthly meeting. A proposed increase in the millage rate and property values tripling over the past few years are to blame. The final millage rate vote is set for August. Today's weather partly cloudy with temperatures in the mid-80s, isolated thunderstorms throughout the afternoon. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra, and we're joined by U.S. Representative Mike Collins, representative from Georgia's 10th Congressional District on the Morning Extra, Tug and Los until 10. Collins, who represents Georgia's 10th Congressional District, a guy that I'm sure flies in and out of Hartsville Jackson all the time, getting from D.C. back home. Lucky for you, Congressman, no more taking your shoes off. It's a good morning.
We don't have to make sure that our socks are good anymore, right?
That's right. Because there's nothing grosser.
That was always my embarrassing moment. I'm like, they found my holes.
Oh yeah. We start out on a funny note because the conversation will quickly turn serious. And we discussed this a little earlier on the show, Representative Collins, and the fact that Jose Ibarra could possibly get a retrial because his lawyers are saying he wasn't mentally stable enough to sit through this trial, and it's so hurtful to see, and I can't imagine what Lake and Riley's parents are thinking right now.
You know, I can't either. I mean, you're just talking about good salt of the earth, good people. I mean, people that actually love their family, love their kids, and you look at Ibarra, and he had enough wits by him to murder this young lady. He had, as a matter of fact, he was mentally competent enough to break into our country, go all over the country on the public dime, whether it being fed or housed. He understood when he was breaking the law, and he picked up his little trade and he moved it down to Athens, Georgia. What bothers me is we've got lawyers they're saying that the system failed the criminal. Y'all, the system in our country failed this family, and they failed that young lady. And there's nothing that they can do that beyond that. His punishment's already too lenient for me. But we'll see in shorthand. I guess these lawyers are smarter than the first ones. They all think about that. Surely they do. But the only thing about this guy is he's just evil. He's mean. He doesn't understand the laws. And that gets us to our own country and how if we don't grapple with him, if we don't get control and make sure that the people of this country understand that we are a nation of laws and order, we're losing so much, not just morality, but we're losing a lot of our country and just what makes us unique from the rest of the world. But this cold-blooded killer, I think this will be short, and they'll figure out that the only thing about this guy is that he's just evil.
Representative Mike Collins joins us right here on the Morning Extra, and let's talk about a little bit more about this bigger picture, because we saw over the weekend there was the floating from Brooke Collins of, all right, what are we going to do with our farm workers? Is amnesty on the table? 48 hours later, we saw the press conference where it was amnesty is not on the table. That is the one buzzword that I think is off the table with a lot of voters. What is your take on it?
Well, we don't need amnesty in this country. We've got a worker program for our farmers. It works. It needs to be tweaked. It needs to be improved. They need to fix the labor side of it as far as how we're classifying and how we're paying these people. They increased the pay exponentially during the Biden years, and they just don't add up to what reality should be. So there's some things that need to be fixed in this, but we have a good worker program for our farmers. We just need to make sure that we go around the edges and sew this thing up right.
U.S. Representative Mike Collins representing Georgia's 10th Congressional District, which is, all the way up to the South Carolina line, moving east, and then all the way as far south as Milledgeville and over to Conyers. Man, you got a big old district there. Have you talked to the farmers in your district about some of these things?
talk to them all the time, and our farmers, yes, and your row crops and people that need help picking crops, that's a problem. But our farmers have the same problems that all small businesses out there have, whether it be insurance, whether it be accessible loans, whether it be the fact that the government has just regulated these folks almost out of business, whether what they can put on their land, what they can use, what kind of equipment they can use. So there is they've got the same problems that the rest of small business out there has. And I can relate to that. I tell people all the time, man, I love my district because I think I'm a good reflection of it. I've spent my entire career in the private sector. When we talk about what's actually happening to small businesses out there, and make no mistake, man, farming is a small business.
Sure.
I know what they feel. May not know the exact reg that they got hit with, but by God, I get hit with enough. And I know that it's painful. And I know a lot of them are overreaching and just out of control bureaucracy that we've had for decades. And I tell people all the time, that's why this is one of the greatest times in history to be a member of Congress, because we can right this ship and right this ship for generations to come.
Representative Mike Collins joins us right here on the Morning Extra. Let's talk about that, because the big, beautiful bill ends up getting through over the weekend, going to be signed, obviously, into law, and now becomes the law of the land. So much of this, I believe, we're looking into growth. Everything has to be pro-growth, and hopefully that helps our farmers, but hopefully it helps our middle class so that we can see this economy, hopefully in the neighborhood of 4% GDP again.
Yeah, you take a look at just the job growth here that we've had in the last job reports. It was all natural growth from Americans getting jobs. When you turn Americans into employees or workers or bosses and get them off of government assistance, that's a great day in itself. I mean, that at the end of the day, we don't want people to be. Some people have to have the assistance. We understand that, but the rest of them, they just want an opportunity. I firmly believe that.
Me too.
They want an opportunity to provide for their family and to win and to be successful. And so we're providing that. You're seeing that just in the growth right now because, for so long, illegal immigrants or aliens over here, they would just take jobs at cheap rate, whatever they could get. And now you're seeing living wages that are being actually handed out to Americans out there, and where they can make money and they can thrive. And people always harp on CBO and the fact that they say that these tax policies are going to cost. And you know what? All you got to do is look back to 2017. The CBO was wrong then, and they're wrong now. And at some point, we're going to have to turn around and take a look at the CBO and just examine why they are so liberal and why they are so against pro-growth and capitalism in this country.
And to piggyback off of that, the CBO was saying in that 2017, and with the tax cuts that came into play, this is how much it's going to cost. We had record tax revenue that came in during that time period.
We did, and here's the big difference. This is the kicker. In 2017, the makeup of the House was so much different than what it is today. Today, you've got people that understand we can't just go out there and spend money like it's water. You've got to be fiscally responsible to get this debt and this deficit under control. And in 2017, they saw money coming in, and they were pushing it out as fast as they could. So it's a different day with different people. And, that CBO, I tell you, man, I'm like old Lou Holtz, man. If I can't trust you, I don't use you.
That's exactly right. That's right. Bringing in Lou Holtz quote this morning. Let's go. That's a good day when we get that in there.
I need college football back.
Yes, we do. I think we're only about 6 or 7 weeks away from college football, right, which is great. But
go Dogs.
Yes, sir. And on top of that, Congressman Collins, the tariffs. I heard Scott Bessent talking about the money that was generated. And I'm sure the CBO probably had some sort of opinion on that, but I know the mainstream media had opinions on it. They were telling us every day we're going to have empty store shelves. They were telling us every day that things were going to be detrimental. It's going to be detrimental to the United States to implement these tariffs. And we've already brought in $100 billion through the end of the year. $300 billion is expected. And then long term could be $2.8 trillion. Every time Donald Trump says, this is what I'm going to do, he lays it out, he does it. all the naysayers say, nope, can't happen, and it does. That's the thing that people can't get away from. That's why people vote for him. That's why people trust him. He says what he's going to do, and then he does it.
There is a reason that this man, President Trump, is such a successful business person. And if one day these people will take note, I wouldn't bet against Donald Trump for anything, because he's not going to do anything that he knows he can't win at. And on top of that, I swear, I think he gets up every day and he says, what do I need to do to help the forgotten men and women in this country today, to give them that chance and that opportunity to chase that American dream? I firmly believe that's in his DNA, and that's who he really is. And so I wouldn't bet against Trump for nothing on what – and these tariffs – you talk about these tariffs. I sit on a chairman of one of the subcommittees, so we've seen the amount of ships that are coming in and out of these ports. And there are a lot of mega ships that have been sitting in Asia with nothing to do. Now, in the trucking business, people will tell you when the freight's slow, the rates are low. Now, you think that they won't load up those ships and bring their goods to America and eat those tariffs? Yeah, they'll do that in a heartbeat. It's called cash flow. So I'm not worried about the tariffs. I think it's good that we finally get on a level playing field. I'm a free market guy, but by God, if it's not fair, it's not free.
That's right.
Representative Mike Collins joins us on the Morning Extra. So the year started with the Lake and Riley Act. We've now gone with the big, beautiful bill. What's next? Because I'm so curious about, obviously everything got off in this way, obviously big legislation. What's next right now for the House?
Well, appropriations, we're working on approach. We've already got Milcon out. We've got all our appropriations are in line. This may sound crazy, but we may have regular order this year.
What? Huh?
Yeah. The House could actually get the appropriation bills out and send over to the Senate. Now, if the Senate don't want to do anything with it, and they didn't do anything with 5 of them one year and 7 of them the year before that, but it was Democrat control and they didn't want to. But we get back to regular order to where the Senate will force these folks and the senators over there to take up these appropriation bills. We could actually see our government get back to regular order. That's where we've gotten so out of control and so sideways, where these agencies just get emboldened and they get out of control, because even though we have hearings and we try to bring them in and hold them accountable, and then at the end of the day we just stroke checks, for CRs and omnibuses and say, hey, see you next year, and pat them on the back. No, man, those days need to be done. And the way you do that is through appropriations. And you actually bring that money back in and get it out of their agency so that they know that they're accountable and they know that we're watching. The other big thing that's going on up right now is we are on a fast track to approve executive orders. There were several executive orders in that big, beautiful bill, but we need to keep on track to make sure that these executive orders are inked and put into law, so that if there's, God forbid, there was ever a Democrat administration, that they couldn't touch those because they're now law.
Yeah, they're codified. That's been the most important thing, I think, to the people that you represent in Georgia, and certainly me and Los as Georgia residents. Those things were so valuable and so important to us.
Amen.
When it comes to the big, beautiful bill, I'm so encouraged. I've always thought Donald Trump is not going to do anything that damages the United States of America. He loves it like I love it, like you love it, Mike Collins. He cares about this country. And that's when I learned that, when I started to understand that's when I was like, okay, I will, because I wasn't crazy about what appeared to be a bunch of deficit spending, because I'm like you, man, we can't spend more than we take in. It just doesn't make sense. But I did believe that there was a vision to make the economy grow and to become that inferno that it was in Trump's first term. And I believe we're going to get it again. And then at some point, maybe we can tackle some of those issues that are non-touchable, like Social Security, like Medicare, Medicaid, some of the entitlements that have to be reformed.
Yeah, well, I mean, you take, for instance, I got 2 things going right now. Since I'm chairman of the Water Resource and Environment Subcommittee, Clean Water Act, we do it every 2 years. You wouldn't believe the reforms that I just stuck in that thing. We're fixing to fast-track permitting so that people have the ability to not have these crazy EPA rules that have been crammed down their throats, where to put in equipment that you don't even really have the means to test for. Or if you test for them, it's really not worth the money that you invest to what what you get out of it. But we're going to fast track, and that's not just in my committee. We're going to start fast tracking these permits where communities can grow and they have that ability. The number one thing that I've seen out there, and I've been all over this country on that little subcommittee, just visiting what's going on in our ports and in our waterways and navigable channels. The number one thing everybody says is, Congressman, if you'll just give me my dead lane permits and leave, we know how to operate. We know what to do. And we want to be successful. We want our community to grow. But our biggest problem is the federal government. So in a lot of ways, we're our own worst enemy. We get things like that permitting into to alignment, and we make things fast track. And the other big thing, even on Medicaid, Medicare, anything else in the world, I'm fixing to drop tort reform before the end of this month and push that through. I firmly believe if we get tort reform in this country, you're going to see a lot of things from insurance across every spectrum. I don't care if it's health insurance or whether it's general liability. It is affected by these lawyers that are out there. Y'all see them. You see them on the billboards every day.
That's true. And I'll tell you,
whose money do you really think that they're getting?
Yeah, they're getting the insurance. Yeah, they're getting our money. And to think that one of the things that artificially shoots up the cost of health care is the amount of insurance that doctors have to carry because of this stuff.
Amen. And not just doctors, but you personally.
Yeah.
Your group insurance, your health insurance has skyrocketed. Now, it's skyrocketed for reasons. I can pinpoint the exact date, and that's the date that Obamacare was put into to law. But these lawsuits and these out-of-control verdicts, these nuclear verdicts, we've got to bring this under control. You see that? There's so many things in so many areas that are moving right now. It's amazing. You know, we used to say the federal government couldn't do one thing good at a time. But right now we are moving on different fronts at the same time, and we are marching ahead fast.
Mike Collins, representative from Georgia's 10th Congressional District on the Morning Extra, Tug and Los until 10. Final thing for you. I've seen where you've hinted at you may have some interest in running for Senate. I know you've that wasn't your intention when you ran for Congress. That wasn't what you had planned to do, was run for the Senate. But there may be a reason that you might do that. What would be the deciding factor, sir?
Well, at the end of the day, and it's like I said yesterday, we have a mission. The mission is not Mike Collins. The mission isn't anybody. The mission is to make sure that we put a good, solid, conservative Republican in the U.S. Senate to represent Georgia values, because we don't have that right now. We don't have that in either senator that we've got up there. They are so beholden to these crazy woke people and their donor bases over there in California. And they don't represent the state of Georgia. And so that's the mission. And wherever I fall in to help with that, whether it's pushing the cart, pulling the cart, or I am the cart, we'll do it.
I like it. When do you think you'll make that decision? What is there a time frame?
No, I never. We don't try to put time frames on anything. But I mean, anything logical. Anybody knows that, if it's something you're going to do, you've got to get on top of it in short order. I'll be honest, it's something I'm wrangling with big time.
I can only imagine. It's a big step.
Yeah, I've got a great job right now.
Sure.
And we're moving things, and we're involved, and we got so much. We've been helping people get to the House, and we've got great teamwork throughout the House of Representatives. It's a lot to look at, but at the end of the day, we're gonna make sure that we get us a Republican senator and we send John Ossoff home.
A couple of ways to learn more about Mike Collins. You can find him at Rep. Mike Collins. You can also find him at Mike Collins GA if you're looking for Representative Mike Collins representing Georgia's 10th Congressional District. Mike, we appreciate your time this morning.
Hey, man. Enjoyed it. Y'all have a great day.
Yes,
Thank you.
Hit them with the Go Dogs.
There you go.
It's a good day when you get to go Dogs. That's what I'm looking for. What are we, 7 Saturdays away from college football? Seems like something like that. Morning Extra at Extra 106.3. Joe Rogan gives a shout out to front office Los. What? Next on the Morning Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Thursday, July 10th. The Atlanta Braves homered 5 times last night, including 2 from All-Star Ronald Acuna Jr. as the team beat the Athletics in Sacramento 9-2, the final. The Braves look to take the rubber match of the 3-game series tonight. It'll be Spencer Strider on the mound against J.P. Sears. First pitch is set for 9:05. You can hear that game streaming live on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan. From the NBA, Phoenix Suns guard Devin Booker has agreed to a 2-year max extension worth $145 million. That is the highest paid extension in league history. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
A study by Allianz Life reveals that 63% of Americans harbor the fear of running out of money in retirement. With that, let's turn to Coach Pete. Coach, what about the word safe?
Safe. Big word. Big word. Misconstrued sometimes. When you hear safe, it seems boring to some people. Safe, you think of a CD at the bank paying 1%, but there are some safe strategies that will grow your money, help you participate in the upside of the market, but not the downside, and give you lifetime income you can never outlive. That is the true safe, and that puts safety, gives you peace of mind if you have the right safety, doesn't it?
It sure does, and get a look at what the right safety plan for your retirement could be. Call Coach Pete's local trusted advisor, Craig Chandler of Chandler Wealth Management, 800-419-6164, 800-419-6164, 800-419-6164. Craig Chandler, 800-419-6164.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
This is Window Nation, your source for affordable replacement windows at the highest quality. So if you've got old, drafty, sticking, or leaking windows, you need the experienced pros at Window Nation. You can pay a lot less and still get the premium windows you're dreaming of. Their custom windows are guaranteed to be a perfect fit, and they're backed by the best warranty in the industry. Go to getwindownation.com or call 866-90NATION for your free estimate. And for a limited time, get 50% off all window styles, plus pay no interest for 5 years.
The older I get, the more I think about trust. I think about the people in my life who have my trust and earned my trust, and the trust that I have placed in some people who I later learned abused that trust. I know we're alike in that way. We don't trust a lot of people anymore. It's like we're all Ronald Reagan, trust but always verify to make sure we're not making a mistake. I find it a little exhausting, quite honestly, and that's why I started realestateagentsitrust.com. I didn't have good experiences with buying and selling my homes. So we built Real Estate Agents I Trust to introduce you to one of the thousands of agents all over the country that we work with, that we have verified that they will help you have the most successful and good real estate transaction possible. Our network agents share our sensibilities, have great track records, are good and decent people, and I trust them to help you with your real estate needs. So whether you're moving across town or across the country, visit realestateagentsitrust.com. The name says it all, realestateagentsitrust.com.
The Morning Extra on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3 FM.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3.
It's a big day, Tug.
It is? Well, what do you mean?
Today is the actual full release of NCAA College Football 26.
I saw Clay Travis complaining a little bit about kids playing football in the basement. I guess he's broadcasting from home or something.
Yeah.
He was like, I had to go down there and tell him to shut up. He was like, I was afraid people were going to hear it on the air as we're doing the show. I had to go tell my kids to calm down.
He works out of his house.
Yeah.
Imagine that. The biggest radio show in the country. He does it out of his house, and so does Buck Sexton.
Yeah. It's just there's no limits on it, really.
No.
Anymore.
You got all the tech now.
Yeah, you just do it anywhere you want to. But if you listen to the show a lot, then thank you, first of all. But secondly, you know how curious Front Office Los is. Just by nature. It's just who he is.
If you show me something shiny, I go, what is that?
What is this? And if you're new to the show, thank you for checking us out.
Welcome.
And that's something you will learn.
He's Tug. I'm Los.
About
We're
front
here
office
for
Los.
you.
We are all day long. And anytime on social media, at Front Office Los, at Tug Cowart, at Extra 1063.
I'm just not going to fight with you on social media very often.
No, I have no time for that. I saw a clip from the Joe Rogan show, and I immediately thought of you. And I wanted to play it because I want you to hear what he said.
Who was the guest? Do you know? Because that's what I'm curious about. When I haven't listened to this clip, so I have no idea. But I'm kind of curious of where it was from. So that's always the deal. It's like, because I always look at the roster of who they have given that week. But regardless, just that's what I always do. I'm like, oh, okay, that's from this week or last week.
Yeah, I don't.
Fine. You don't have to know everybody.
It was less about who the guest was in this situation and more about what he said.
Okay.
He said, shout out to all the people out there that still don't believe in conspiracy theories. Your ability to stick to your guns is inspiring. I thought, oh, that's Los right there. If I've ever heard him say something that is Front Office Los, that's it. And then I pulled up, I couldn't help, I was just searching around. Look at this list of who was right and who was wrong. Journalist got wrong, Hunter Biden's laptop. Conspiracy theory is right. Dude, this list
It's quite a list. I saw it yesterday.
25 things. I mean, it's huge. I can't believe.
The reason why I said, I wanted to see what episode this was from, because there's always that moment where you will have something taken out of context and, put on the internet because Joe Rogan said, for instance, the joking around about believing in dragons. And then The View ran with it this guy believes in dragons. And he was talking with an archaeologist talking about the nature of how big lizards show up throughout all of history across a multitude of different peoples around the world. And for some reason, whether you want to call it dragons or big lizards or whatever, it's like people are fascinated in them. That's what the discussion was. So to think that when he says, way to stick to your guns.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I have stuck to my guns.
Right. I've never given up. I've never given in. A friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, he's my son's godfather. I didn't even know what a godfather was. I thought it was just a movie. Turns out up north, where my wife's from, they actually do that. Godmother, godfather.
In case something happens to the parents, this is the person who would assume responsibility for you.
Yes. And that's how much.
It's an honor.
Right. And that's how important this guy is to me. I mean, we've known each other since 9th grade. And he, one of the funniest people I've ever met, reads his Bible all the time, smokes a lot of weed, reads his Bible all the time.
Okay.
I mean, that's his balance. That's just works his tail off. Great father, great husband. That's his vice. We all have them. But the reason I bring this up is because he sent me a piece of scripture, and he was like, dude, how did I not know there's a mention of unicorns in the Bible?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, hang on.
Uh-huh.
Hang on. Let's run this back.
We're going to go further than that.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing. And he sent me the actual quote from the Bible, and I was just like, what in the world? And is it Psalms 90? Yeah, here it is. Psalms 92:10. The psalmist is praying and says, but my horn shall exalt like the horn of a unicorn. This dude been reading the Bible his whole life, one of the most well-versed people in the Bible, and he was like, I've never heard of this, and he sent it to me, and I was just like, dumbfounded, jaw on the table. But it just kind of pulls all of this conversation together. In the fact that, because you mentioned the big lizards, and now you don't, and all the things that have happened in everyday life that we're like, man, that just doesn't add up, and every time our gut was right.
Okay, so now I'm going to even make your mind go oh, what do you mean?
Here we go.
So that is what appears in the King James Bible. That's pretty typical.
Mm-hmm.
But the translation is basically a beast with a single horn.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that just turned into that's a unicorn, right?
Because what else would it be?
But, in other versions of the Bible, it's a beast with a single horn. Okay.
Is there another? I can't think of anything. Maybe a rhinoceros with the one on the end of his nose?
A rhino with just a horn on the end of his face.
Maybe.
Narwhal?
Maybe a narwhal. Thank you, the narwhal.
Only one I can think of.
Exactly.
The narwhal, quite majestic. But yes, when you go through that list that's on there from the Joe Rogan podcast tracker, And every single one of these most recent conspiracy theories over the last 5 years, all the checks are on my end. And the problem was, it's not like I'm some big believer in conspiracy theory, because the problem with conspiracy theorists, in my opinion, what's frustrating is that when you argue with them, no matter how many times you put down their argument, they shift to a different version of it.
Absolutely.
It's frustrating. I don't believe it's conspiracy theory in this case when it came to, for instance, Hunter Biden's laptop to go, hey, why is this thing out here? And wouldn't you not want it to be out there in order to make sure you had a better chance of winning an election? That's not conspiracy theory. That's just logic.
Back to curiosity, too.
Yes.
Having some journalistic curiosity, because most of them didn't. And it wasn't because they probably weren't curious. It was because they knew what it would unravel. And none of these things were conspiracy theories at all, truly. They were just labeled that to dismiss them, to discredit them.
Right. Conspiracy theory or conspiracy theorist is what you use in order to take somebody's argument and throw it out the window. If I was to say, I don't have any safety data on mRNA vaccines, I don't know if this is the platform that we should be going with. I want to read more literature from more research and more doctors. That's not conspiracy theory. That's just a wait-and-see approach.
That's actually intelligence.
It's like me with NCA 26 as I move it over to there. I'm not buying it until I read some more reviews and go, okay, that seems like it'll be worth my money.
Yeah, why would I pay $80 or $90 or $100 for the exact same game that I had last year?
The fact that I may not like it isn't conspiracy theory.
No, yeah.
Just wait and see.
That's right. Morning Extra and Extra 106.3. Tug and Los until 10. Glad that you're here. We appreciate you. 404-741-1230 at Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms.
Unicorns, 1MC.
Dude, you're nailing it today. Dude,
Mike Collins.
I don't
Gus
know.
the Donkey.
That's right.
Wonder if he's in NCAA.
Who?
Gus the Donkey.
No, he's not.
California Adams.
Yes, for the Adams from Gus, the movie from earlier in the hour. No, he's not in there. But if he were, I'd buy the game. When we come back, a stunning move by Joe Biden's doctor yesterday. Next on Extra.
The Morning Extra has you covered until 10 a.m. Then it's Glenn Beck, Clay Travis, and Buck Sexton at noon, and the Kimmer Show taking over at 3, only on Extra 106.3.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Cowart for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. This week's guest is Jay Alexander, Fulton County Clerk of Superior and Magistrate Courts. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com. Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Retirement means different things to different people. Some folks want to travel the world. Some folks want to spend more time with grandkids. For me, I'm looking forward to spending more time with my guitar. Whether extravagant and robust or simple and cozy, every retirement needs a plan. You wouldn't take a trip without directions. You have to know where you are before you know where you're going. Master Plan Retirement Consultants have helped many like you plan for their own retirement. Not only does Master Plan help you create the roadmap, they join you on the journey. So whether you want to travel the world, become a pickleball champ, or just looking for a good porch, a sturdy rocking chair, and an acoustic guitar, remember to plan well, because the destination is worth it. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation today.
My name is Patrick, and I'm the Military Outreach Manager at the Warrior Alliance. I served in the U.S. Army as an airborne ranger and deployed to several combat zones in support of the global war on terror. Veterans bring excellence through our work ethic, skills, and civic duty. However, transitioning to civilian life can be difficult, as we all share a loss of purpose when leaving the military. Returning veterans have earned and deserve our support so they can thrive on their journey home. The Warrior Alliance understands the challenge and is helping warriors navigate to success after service. Join us in changing thousands of lives for the better. Donate today at thewarrioralliance.org.
Sports stars and entertainment stars collide at MLB All-Star Saturday with 2 star-studded baseball events. First, the All-Star Futures Game, where baseball's rising stars show off their skills on the game's biggest stage. Then it's All-Star Celebrity Softball, where MLB legends and pop culture icons bring the fun. Catch all the stars at MLB All-Star Saturday, July 12th at Truist Park. Tickets available now at allstargame.com. MLB trademarks used with permission.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Van Sant Law, vansantlaw.com.
Suspensions at the Secret Service. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News. Punishments are coming down over the near assassination of President Trump at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, a year ago this Sunday.
Nearly 1 year after the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, some critics are still asking why there was not a proper overwatch on that roof near the stage. The 6 Secret Service agents that have been reportedly suspended for the blown coverage, they were not fired. The deputy director defended the agency's decision not to sack anyone. Quote, "We aren't going to fire our way out of this. We're going to focus on the root cause and fix the deficiencies that put us in that situation. Secret Service is totally accountable for Butler."
Fox Lucas Tomlinson in Washington. President Trump sets a 50% tariff rate on imports from Brazil, condemning what he calls an attack on free elections.
In a letter to Brazil's president, President Trump tied that high tariff rate to the trial of the country's former leader, Jair Bolsonaro. Bolsonaro is accused of attempting a coup following his election loss in 2022 and has been barred from running for office until 2030.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. There's been a vigil in Texas for victims of last Friday's flash flooding. At least 120 people are dead, more than 170 still missing.
The community around Kerr County here came together. They packed the local football stadium at the local high school with a prayer vigil. They called it the Kerr County Blessing. The volunteers and staff working to bring victims home total more than 2,000 in this area, just in this county alone. They include searchers with Texar, or Texas Search and Rescue, the Cajun Navy as well. Governor Greg Abbott has added 4 flood-related items to the upcoming special section of the Texas legislature. They include flood relief funding, communications, emergency communications equipment, and, of course, an early warning system.
Fox's Mike Tobin. 27 construction workers and 4 more who went in to help are all safely out of a tunnel that collapsed in Los Angeles. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Want weather? Grab your phone. Need traffic? Grab your phone. Conservative news and talk, also on your phone. Get the Extra 106.3 app.
A lot of attention on Truist Park in the Battery, Atlanta. Home of the Atlanta Braves, home of Dickey Broadcasting Company, our sister station, The Fan, 680 93.7 FM. Home of the Atlanta Braves. Every piece of audio that you hear on the radio, social media, if it is audio form of Braves broadcast, it generates from this building right down the hall with our friends at 680, a brand that front office Los knows really well. Spends time over there still to this day, and does shows still over there too.
Oh, they asked me to join next week.
Oh, yeah.
But
That
this
makes
one
sense.
would be tied into the Radiothon. Which is
got
a
it.
really good thing with Camp Twin Lakes.
Yeah, no doubt.
And all the work that they do there. And that's why because the question was, like, why did we start talking about a Kimmer Radiothon? And I was like, I just wanted to cross promote that one of the biggest things at Dickey Broadcasting we do is for Camp Twin Lakes and also Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
That's
and so
right.
those are our two that are our big ones.
Yeah.
And if we can build in one for Kimmer Leg,
I don't know why you wouldn't. It seems an
why
obvious
not?
next step.
Right.
I mean,
Just can you do me a favor and just say it the way you were saying it yesterday?
Kimmer Leg.
Kimmer leg. Something about that just gets me. I love that.
That's right. I love it too. But the reason I bring up the attention to the ballpark is I read something from Sports Illustrated, and there is a kid from Bankhead, and he played in the minor leagues. He hung up his cleats several years ago, maybe even 20 years ago. But that kid from Bankhead that played minor league ball has a connection to the ballpark next door, and that statue that you see of the home run king Hank Aaron. What could there possibly be from a minor leaguer that hung up his cleats 20 years ago and the greatest Brave of all time?
Car accident?
You would think. But no, it was not a car accident. And I hear that happened yesterday. We did not encourage that. We didn't ask for it. We didn't call for it. Before anybody gets mad at me, starts wanting to burn the building down, do donuts out in front of the stadium, yelling obscenities and shooting Desert Eagles. We had nothing to do with it. Back to the story. This kid, his name is CJ Stewart, and he was the model that they used when they were sculpting the Hank Aaron statue.
That's cool. Okay.
I thought it was great too, man. I loved reading that story.
I mean, I would typically imagine that you have an image of someone and that's what you do it off of rather than a live model, but okay.
Yeah, Sports Illustrated is where you can find this story. The relationship between a Cubs minor leaguer and the home run king.
There is some really bad statues out there.
Yes, there is.
And whenever we see them, they are hilarious.
Yes. What's that one? Is it in Miami?
Dwayne Wade
Yes.
has one
Woof.
that looks rough. And Dwayne Wade, it's a pretty chill dude.
Yeah,
like
good-looking
it's
dude.
supposed to be like a good-looking statue, and it looks strange.
Yeah.
Messi that had the bust that was really, really awful. I think it was Messi, the
soccer player. Yeah.
Or was it Ronaldo? I'm not. I'm not. a
Not
soccer
everybody has the great one. Like Michael Jordan's out in front of the United Center is like one of the iconic ones.
Yeah,
where he's
that's-
in the Jumpman pose.
Dude, that'll go down with the history of the ones in D.C. that are just amazing. Of Abraham Lincoln and people like that. That's where Jordan statue rates.
And then there's some again the one with poor Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
You just look at it and you're like, oh
yeah,
oh no,
yeah, man, that sucks. Well, thankfully, the one at Truist Park turned out so good. That's one of my favorite statues because it's not him just holding a bat. I mean, it is in full motion, that iconic Hank Aaron swing. As soon as you see it, you're like, oh my gosh, that's Hank Aaron swinging the bat. But C.J. Stewart, the model from Bankhead, a former minor leaguer in the Cubs organization. Are you looking at ugly statues right now?
It's the Cristiano Ronaldo one.
Oh,
not Messi. Sorry.
Yeah,
That is terrible,
dude. So bad.
There's a Harry Carey one that is really rough.
I'm sure in front of Wrigley somewhere. Because if you think about the Phil Negro one is pretty good. The Bobby Cox one is pretty good. If you're just looking at a few of them that are around Truist Park, that'll be taken. There'll be plenty of pictures taken this weekend with those statues and of those statues.
Dwayne Wade's looks like if you were to fast forward Dwayne Wade to his 70s, and then put him in a Miami Heat uniform and then make a statue of it. That's what that looks like.
And make him angry because he didn't get his Jell-O.
It's really bad.
Oh Lord, that's awful.
The Shaq one out in L.A. is really great too, where he's dunking, both legs up in the air.
Yeah. Which is also a very iconic pose for Shaq. I think the Vince Dooley one, if you go to the University of Georgia, they're close to the baseball fields and that indoor facility that the football team uses. that one of Vince Dooley being lifted up after they won the 1980 national championship. I think that's a really good one. To be honest, I've never seen the Herschel Walker statue. That's never been, even though they created it and they would never put it on campus. Still to this day, don't understand why. And that one's
he's not a graduate,
but he just finally did.
That's the next.
And maybe they'll eventually, but I don't know.
That's always been.
Well, at least that was the excuse.
The issue that has been touted that if you are an athlete, here's part of it.
Yeah, I know that's been it, but it feels like an excuse more than anything to me. And now that it's done, like the excuse is over. The excuse is done.
All right, where on campus is it going?
Let's drag it. Let's get that thing over because it's at like a gas station or something. But this amazing Herschel Walker statue is at next to a taco stand or something. But anyway, I thought that was interesting, especially with the All-Star game being here in town finally after being taken away for no reason. And I saw a great tweet. We talk about just random tweets that we see. Somebody shared this, and it was just, hey, y'all realize that nothing has changed with the voting law that took the All-Star game away. That law is still intact today because, of course, it didn't discriminate against anyone. It was this fervor that everybody got caught up in that made no sense whatsoever. Nothing has changed. That's how you know when they took away the All-Star game the first time, it was pointless.
And then we had record voting and record turnout.
On top of that.
Because it actually became, very simply, easier to vote in Georgia, harder to cheat.
Yeah.
That's what they were complaining about. That was the reason why the All-Star game got taken away, under the guise of, it's going to be harder for black people to vote. No, it was easier for everyone to vote. It was harder to cheat.
That's right.
That's all.
And they took away the All-Star game. No reason. Nothing has changed. The law did exactly what Los just laid out, and now the All-Star game is back. So when you see knee-jerk reactions like that, you probably already knew that it was BS that they moved the All-Star game the first time. But if you needed more proof, there you go. So Biden's doctor, he decided to plead the fifth. He lied to the nation for 4 years and never, ever thought it was going to get called. The Dems get away with everything. He's thinking to himself, man, I'm good. Uh-oh. Guessing if he's already pleaded the fifth in a non-criminal hearing. That's the thing that you must know about this hearing that he pleaded the fifth in.
It's a fact-finding mission.
That's all it was.
This is Kevin O'Connor who decided this is what he was doing.
And now, maybe, just maybe, this should turn into a criminal investigation because you wouldn't even answer a question past what your name is.
So he pointed out, if you didn't see it, he was basically in front of this session. And this was, again, it's a fact-finding hearing. There are Democrats and Republicans on both ends. They were each going to have an hour to ask questions. And what he did is he brought up the fact that between the doctor-patient relationship and the concern about any sort of criminal implication, he pleaded the fifth based on what his lawyer recommended, and that was it. Got up and gone.
Non-criminal. He's pleading the fifth. They're not saying we're going to charge you with anything. They're just wanting to know what happened because you, who were under the thumb, under the rule of the Biden administration or the board of directors, whoever ran it, whatever was going on, we know it wasn't him because he wasn't mentally capable. He wasn't physically capable. This man, after stating his name, he was out. I plead the fifth.
So you've got really two choices. I'm a bad doctor, or I'm part of the cover-up. Granted, I think it's pretty clear I'm part of the cover-up.
But you could group in bad doctor because if you're going to cover it up, you're a bad doctor for not telling the truth.
What? No, I'm just saying if I can't diagnose that you have dementia,
yeah, then you're really bad at your job.
And that you're also dealing with cancer?
Yeah.
Because remember, this was somebody who got out in front of the nation and who continued, he's totally fit, everything's totally fine, he's 100%, everything's good to go.
Sign my name to it.
Meanwhile, again, I think he would probably pick up on those signs. So you're either telling everyone I'm a terrible doctor for not seeing this stuff, or I'm part of the cover-up. And that's all we're trying to get down to with these hearings. Everything is just about how did we deal and what was the structure of the government for 4 years when you didn't have a functional president? 4 years. The man couldn't function. Like, did he sign anything? You know, what were his decisions?
I'm sure he had to sign off saying, yes, this man is fit.
I mean, you actually had a Supreme Court justice that was put forth. Who did it? Was it and obviously every president gets recommendations. Here's a list. Here's what you should do. Take a look. What is your selection? That is done, and not just like, oh, Donald Trump just made a decision. Here's what he's going to do. But how did those decisions get made when you have a guy that couldn't function after 4 o'clock?
This doctor also, on top of that, Los, this doctor has to think, I'm never going to be called on this. The Democrats aren't called on things like this. They tell me to sign off on it. I sign off on it. I get my check. I go home.
I thought we were all playing the game here, right?
Everybody's in. It's an open secret. They said it was the most unkept secret. This is Washington Post said this 6 months ago. The most unkept secret in Washington, D.C. Everybody knew about Joe. So if everybody knows, and this doctor goes in and he's like, yep, I mean, y'all know what's wrong with him. I know what's wrong with him. Yep, he's just fine, because he never expected to have his card pulled. Who's going to ask me about this? Who's going to ask? He's the president. The people that are surrounding the president, they have all the power in the world. Who's going to call me on this? Why would anybody else? So he felt completely comfortable signing off on those documents that Joe Biden was just fine.
The concern long term, like, we have the 25th Amendment for a reason. If you're incapacitated, you can't function in the job, well, then the 25th Amendment can be enacted, and here's what you do. The Democrats essentially skirted that for 4 years until Joe Biden got up on stage and couldn't debate and couldn't function. And that's when they decided to threaten him with the 25th and get rid of him. Like, it took that moment where they were like, wow, everybody just found out. We're supposed to have, if this committee does what I believe it's supposed to do, we're supposed to have in place, in my mind, whether it's legislation in the future or something that keeps this from happening, where a person cannot be a placeholder. Like, they have to be a functioning executive.
it's
like, we know how to get rid of them, but like, how do we? Is there a way? Like, is there? And this is where we get in a slippery slope, Tug. Like, you don't post your information when it comes to your health.
Yeah. And that's why the doctor right there is taking. He said, well, that's, doctor-patient privilege. And the other thing is that, dude, he could lose his license. I mean, that's probably what he's scared about. That's the reason he's taking the 5th, never expecting to be called on it. And then now that he is, he's like, OS.
If I was to be, let's say I'm your doctor, Tug, and I'm also representing, your interests at the radio station. If I find something wrong with you, and then the radio station asks about it, I'm going to say, he's fine. He's totally good. Because I don't want decisions being made for your future based on, well, could he cost us this much because of his medical care? Like, that's a legitimate concern. That's why you keep this stuff quiet.
Sure.
But in the interest of the country, I don't think the same rules should apply.
Well, it can't. The same rules can't apply.
No.
Because
like, the doctor-patient relationship should be different.
People are voting for this man based on the fact that they feel like he can run the country effectively. And if he has all the things that we now know that he has, there's no way the answer would have been he could run the country effectively.
And in the last 30 years, every president, with the exception of Joe Biden, was posting
publishing
his information as far as his health.
That doctor sucks. I think we can all agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Miller, on the other hand, he doesn't. That dude can do his job like nobody else's business, Los.
I hope that there's some point in my life when somebody says, man, Los is brutally efficient. Because Stephen Miller is brutally efficient to the point where the intelligence and what he brings up, it ends the argument. Like, he just might be like the all-time I end all arguments when it comes to any discussion he has. When he gets out in front of the media, there are no strings left to pull. All right, so Stephen Miller ends up putting out a post yesterday. And you've seen this stuff. It's gotten a little bit viral. This is an image from a highway in Los Angeles. Now, if you've ever been to Los Angeles or you've ever seen the traffic, like, I've been there one time. I was in a hotel. It's 5 lanes of highway, and it was just packed. It was, and I mean, like, all day long.
All day long. There's not like a rush hour.
No.
Atlanta's becoming that a little bit, but L.A. led the way.
Like, when I left town, I left at like 3:30 in the morning so I could get to the airport.
That's right.
That's where I was flown out of. And so to then see like this wide open run of highway, you've had a lot of people going, this is because, and some of the numbers are what they are. The thought is that 1 in 3 people in LA is illegal. Now, is it that many? I don't know. It's an estimate at this point. But as of now, with what ICE is doing there, the highways are wide open.
You can actually travel. You can actually get around.
And Stephen Miller had this that he put out on Twitter. What if this entire time the key to fixing our cities was enforcing our immigration laws? That's Stephen Miller for you. That's the brutality of what he does, and I love it.
But I don't know. It's brutal. I just think it's honest.
What have we done? We've seen murder rates that are falling.
Even in blue cities.
We have seen, when it comes to our safety information, all of it getting back to an acceptable level. What's going on in Colorado is incredible. Areas that were extremely violent suddenly, oh, look, these criminal gangs aren't working here. All the crime rate has come down. Burglaries are down. Rapes are down. All these are down. And it's because of what? We enforced our immigration laws in these places.
And it's funny because we know the American people are behind it. I saw a poll from Signal, who does polling nationwide, and they've been very accurate. It said, you would expect, I mean, if you listen to mainstream media, you would expect that Mexican people, people of Latin descent, Spanish people, that they would be dead against what's happening. And if you listen to the mainstream media, they will tell you that, yeah, these people hate Donald Trump. They're tired of what he's doing. It's not what they voted for. If you look at the Signal polling, it's actually up 11%. People of Latino descent are saying this is exactly what we want. This is exactly what we voted for.
The numbers in Los Angeles estimate somewhere right around 1 to 1.7 million people that are there illegally. And a majority, obviously, from Mexico, but from all over South America. When they're suddenly not on the roads, isn't it weird how suddenly there's just 20% less traffic? Because if you think about it, here in Atlanta, if you suddenly let 25% of people just stay home and telecommute, how much easier it is to get around?
Well, think about COVID. It's just now.
We were flying all around this place.
It's just now getting back to pre-COVID levels on the interstate because people are being drawn back into the office.
Yeah. So no surprise you're seeing these images. And I've seen a couple of them where they you know how you get the traffic alerts as far as here's what's going on the roadways and it just has red everywhere? So much of it now in LA is green.
Can you imagine
Crazy.
how excited you'd be? And that's just another reason that people are satisfied with Donald Trump and to that Signal poll.
He fixed traffic in LA.
Dude, without even trying. That wasn't even the focus. That was just a byproduct of enforcing the law, which is Stephen Miller's point.
This is one of the shots that I saw.
Yeah.
And this shows you, like, yes, as you're on the 405, as you're basically coming off the 101, there's some red there. But you look at the rest of the highway system.
By and large.
It's green and good to go. Like, there's some slow down yellow through there, but it's wild what's happened there.
When we come back on Extra 106.3, we have some audio from the deposition of Dr. Kevin O'Connor that Jeray has dug up for us. And our neighbor to the north is stirring the pot down south. Next on Extra 106.3.
Wherever you are in Georgia, you can stream Extra 106.3 and crystal clear digital with the all-new Extra 106.3 app. Get Extra's live on-air stream in real time, or go back and listen to all your favorite shows, Neil Bortz, or original podcasts, no matter where you go. Grab the Extra 106.3 app now and start streaming.
Hey, this is Matt from East Cobb. We basically bought our house from our in-laws. It was my wife's childhood home. One of the issues that we've had when we first moved in was our dog in our backyard. It was extremely shaded, could never grow grass back there. We resodded it twice. So ATL Turf Co. did an amazing job with our backyard transformation. They basically created a miniature golf hole. We have a miniature fairway. We also have a miniature little putting green. Consists of about 4 holes, total about 40 yards, so you can definitely work on your short game and your putting. After that transformation that ATL Turf Co. did for us, my father-in-law came and saw his house the way it looked after the fact of we had a putting green and a miniature golf course. Sure enough, he did the same thing with ATL Turf Co. He has a beautiful backyard, wonderful stonework, drainage, and a beautiful practice area for chipping and putting. Check them out online at atlturfgo.com.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 3 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffers from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. We provide testosterone replacement therapy, the P-shot, and treatment for ED, PE, and Peyronie's disease. There's not just one therapy that can solve these complex issues. When you visit our clinic, you're going to see me. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. 404-777-1911. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. 404-777-1911. Online at tbtofga.com.
Good morning, Mike. What you eating?
You gotta try this.
I can hear you crunching from the next cube over.
This is amazing. I just discovered it this weekend at Lidl. It's Greek Goddess Gourmet Granola. They were sampling it, so I tried it. Then I bought 6 bags.
Wow. Is it cereal?
Can be. Or an amazing trail mix. It's great for a meal or a snack.
What's in it?
Well, they have 2 flavors, maple oat and harvest nut, which is my favorite. It's made with whole grain oats, almonds, pecans, raisins, coconut, and the sweet taste of pure maple syrup. Maple oat is a simpler take on their delicious granola. It's got wholesome oats, plump raisins, coconut, and maple syrup.
That sounds healthy and delicious.
That's why I can't stop crunching, Susan.
Greek Goddess Gourmet Granola. It's a breakfast or on-the-go snack you can feel good about. It's dairy-free and gluten-free, and with only 2 grams of added sugar per serving, even your belly will love it. Pick some up at Lidl, Amazon, GreekGoddessGourmet.com, or at specialty stores near you.
Donald Trump's America.
Brazil's insidious attacks on free elections, President Trump says, is part of the reason he's imposing a 50% tariff on the country's imports next month. He announced that rate in a letter, but it differs from letters sent to other U.S. trading partners, instead singling out the trial of former President Jair Bolsonaro. Bolsonaro is accused of attempting a coup after he lost re-election in 2022. President Trump has described the investigation as a witch hunt that should end immediately. Dozens of other trading partners are also being told of new charges as part of a reciprocal tariff plan first outlined in April.
The formula was a formula based on common sense, based on deficits, based on how we've been treated over the years.
Most of the tariff rates are below 40%. Still, many economists warn of higher prices for consumers as importers could pass along higher costs. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Thursday, July 10th. Over 100,000 baseball fans are expected to flow into Metro Atlanta this weekend as festivities for the All-Star Game begin. The first fan event starts Friday with a block party in the Battery beginning at 11 a.m. Several events will occur throughout the weekend in various locations around the city, so expect increased law enforcement and traffic. The Home Run Derby happens Monday night, and the All-Star Game itself is set for Tuesday night. If you have a need for speed, watch out. Operation Southern Slowdown begins next week. The multi-state law enforcement operation will be targeting speeding and aggressive driving on highways and interstates. Last year, state and local officers issued over 12,000 citations during the operation. It'll run until July 20th. And Fulton County residents spoke out against higher tax rates at the Board of Commissioners monthly meeting. A proposed increase in the millage rate and property values tripling over the past few years are to blame. The final millage rate vote is set for August. Today's weather, partly cloudy with temperatures in the mid-80s, isolated thunderstorms throughout the afternoon. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
We have an awesome listener in Canada. His name is Jeff. Jeff comes down once in a while, and when he is in town, he swings through and says hello. Last time he brought all kinds of treats and maple syrup and Canadian bacon. Yes. Exactly. Jeff did something yesterday that we did not encourage.
No, we did not. And shout out to Vernon as well, because I did not hear this live. I was with the Kimmer in like the 3 and 4 o'clock hour. Yeah. I got off the road. It was getting near dinner time. I get a text message from Vernon, who has now become the official, I heard it, here's what time it is.
So you can go back and get it.
Vernon, we played golf with him, about a year and a half ago. Yeah, and so it's hilarious that he just sends this over to you. I'll just give you the quote. Someone got the Kimmer after 5 p.m. with this today. Really funny because it was out of nowhere. I put, oh, really? And he just says, enjoy.
Oh, see? And we're going to be blamed for this.
Right.
And we had nothing to do with it. No, we didn't encourage it. We didn't talk about it.
For the new audience.
I want you to know.
New audience members. So this goes back to Mike Francesa, the legendary broadcaster at WFAN in New York, where there was somebody who passed away, and he just started guessing randomly on his radio show, like awkward pauses and his very thick accent. Car accident? But he just kept going and guessing and guessing. And so that car accident then just became this question mark of no matter who passes away.
That's the question.
That's the guess.
You hit me with it this morning.
Yeah, you were talking about these two people, like what they had in common, and I just said, car accident?
Which is so good.
And so that's how it works. So take a listen. This is yesterday during the Kimmer Show. And Jeff in Canada. Jeff, man, you were part of the long game on this one. Take a listen.
Anyway, Kimmer Pete Flounder, 404-74. What's the matter? We got a little something there for
Mr. Jeff from Canada on the horn.
Hey, Jeff from Canada. Hey, how's it going? Welcome aboard, sir. What's happening?
Not much. My dad, he was a fire captain in Toronto when that happened.
Oh, really?
But the guy jumped. Yeah.
Oh, no.
But I just want you to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he fell out of the window, landed down on Bay Street, right, which is a really, really busy street right in the financial district.
I know where. I've been to Toronto. I remember. The thing I remember about Toronto was it was one of the cleanest and most dressed up people cities I've ever been in. Everybody looked like they were going to a party or a business thing or something, and not anymore. Again, this was back in the World Series days with the Braves. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Deb was at both those World Series games.
No
kidding.
kidding.
Talk
about that. Yeah. So your dad was a fire department. He covered that case when the guy jumped out the window by mistake, trying to show the window.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Exactly. But what you want to know?
Yeah.
It wasn't his death.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Car accident.
Very funny. Are you hanging on from the morning show from a month ago or something? Oh my God! Holy smoke! Well, they love to have people call the Kimmer Show and do things that they could laugh out. Now, so I'll be listening while they laugh at me in the morning. Here we are.
We did not encourage it.
I didn't even think it was the right call. I'm listening to it.
Like, how do you work in car accident?
And now Jeff did clarify, yes, because they asked, like, was this all true? He's like, yes, my dad was the fire chief. He did work this case. He's like, I just couldn't help myself. I was like,
Kimmer almost hit us with an F-bomb.
Yeah.
It was on the end of his tongue, waiting to come out, and
so
he
close.
reeled himself back in.
But again, we didn't encourage it. We weren't saying to go do it.
No.
We left it alone. Jeff just was Jeff was lurking. Jeff was in the bushes. He was just out there like, if I just can get one shot at it, I'm
marking it in. Yeah.
Very funny.
And Kimmer handled it so well, and I'm happy
that
with
was
that.
really funny.
Just don't blame us, Kimmy. It's not us.
There was one more moment from yesterday that happened just after that. And I did grab this audio. No, because it's just funny to hear Kimmer.
We're going to get in trouble.
Discussing this.
We're going to get in trouble again.
I'm not trying to get us in trouble. But this is when we were talking about, we're trying to cross-promote a radiothon that's going on with our sister stations coming up next week.
Camp Twin
Lakes. And if you're not familiar with Camp Twin Lakes, it's such a great organization over in Rutledge, Georgia, and what they do.
Yeah, they do great work.
Every single week is a camp for kids that are dealing with different life challenges. Maybe it's cancer. Maybe it's a blood disorder. In each one of it, some of it is a camp for blind children. I mean, like every single camp.
They touch so many different places and people in a wonderful way.
And it's a chance for that week, parents to be like, I got just a regular, you don't have to worry about it. You send your kid to camp. And the counselors know how to handle any of the situations that come up. So it's just a great organization. Well, we started joking about what if we had our own radiothon
Your own
and
extra.
what would we do it for?
By the way, have you heard the latest one? This morning, they were talking about how they're doing a fundraiser. I swear I did. I must have misunderstood this. I even texted Quarter Pounder on the board this morning. He had no idea why they were doing it. They were talking about raising a fundraiser, GoFundMe money for me to get a new leg or a better leg or to fix my leg because it was stinky or something. I have no idea, any idea what that was about.
I just like in the background, you can hear Pete just start to giggle. Like, what are they doing? Wait, they're doing a fundraiser for your leg?
Because it's stinky or something.
You just hear Pete go,
I know, it's so good. The fact that he grabbed onto that's genius. I love that.
It was just a way to cross promote and talk about Camp to Win Lakes and then say if we were going to ever have one.
We would do it for Kimmer and his leg.
Which there's nothing wrong with Kimmer's leg, but it seemed to touch people.
It did. It grabbed you.
Dig deep
you can't
for Kimmer's leg.
And Kimmer was a good sport, and I appreciate it.
Yes, do appreciate it.
Love the Kimmer.
Yeah, me too. Listen 3 to 6 every afternoon. And if you have an extra $1 too. Give it to Kimmer.
There's nothing wrong with it.
So he can get that new leg. You know, it's just he don't want a stinky leg. Who wants? I mean, of all things in the world, nobody wants a stinky leg.
A dance like 20 years ago. The stanky leg.
Stanky leg. Yes, that's right. Dude, the stanky leg. What was that song? I forget. Anyway, I remember it being huge with the baseball kids because they would play it between games.
We need video of the Kimmer doing the stanky leg now.
Yes,
that's how we tie a bow on this.
With his new leg.
Yes.
When he gets it.
He's got one with a hoof on the end of it.
That's right.
Increases vertical.
That's right. Absolutely right.
I got a hoof now here, Pete. Look.
So I understand Jure grabbed some sound from Dr. Connor, who was Biden's physician, took the fifth yesterday. And the American people just want transparency. We just want to know what was going on. Right. He took the fifth after he said his name. This wasn't a criminal hearing and nothing. It was, maybe it needs to be because he took it so early. Just seems like a lot there, Jure.
Yeah, and I think it's always important to go straight to the source when you have a story like this because I kept seeing videos that, there was this behind closed doors deposition, but I didn't see any of the source video. So I went and found that source video, and I really... this guy's a doctor, a man of medicine. He was treating the most powerful man in the world. You would expect a little bit of professionalism.
Yeah.
And I was just aghast at his response to the questioning.
There will be one staff counsel per side asking the questions during each round. To the extent members have questions for the witness, they will be propounded during their side's respective rounds. Do you understand?
I plead the fifth.
The clock will stop if the witness needs to confer with counsel when your counsel is speaking and when members or staff are speaking during the opposing side's rounds of questions. We will alternate back and forth until there are no more questions. Do you understand?
No, but I can tell you that I plead the fifth.
Let the record reflect that Dr. O'Connor has invoked the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Dr. O'Connor, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
There. I said there are so many amendments in the Constitution of the United States of America. I can only choose one. I can only choose I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anything you say, fifth. Go ahead, ask me a question. Did you?
That is from 20 years ago, and to this day, hilarious.
Is the first thought I had when I saw. If I see Fifth Amendment anywhere,
that entire skit of being in front of Congress and
no, choose one. I'm taking the fifth. Dude, Dave Chappelle, absolute genius, was so far ahead of his time with Chappelle's Show and continues to this day to be ahead of his time. We've talked about how important comedy is. And I think that gets looked over, man. I really do. People do not understand the mind of comics. They see the world in such a different way, and they verbalize it, and obviously it comes out funny. But they take the real things that are happening in life and put it right in your face, and you can't overlook it. You can't just look away from it. They make you they make you contend with what's happening around you.
To me, what comedy does is exposes hypocrisy, and you just start laughing.
You can't help
the
it.
things that we accept that are so out there. To think that we had a doctor who decided, I'm going to plead the fifth here, not because he had conducted some crazy medical experiments, not because he did something as far as prescribing stuff he shouldn't. He just happened to be the person who said Biden's fine.
And now we know.
And that was enough to be like,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dude, there's so many.
What criminality was he really involved in? But he was like,
No, but that's the thing. He is protecting himself for what's coming down the road because he knows this is just the beginning, these hearings. And so maybe he's playing it the smart way. Maybe he's playing the wise way, protect his license, whatever it is. He knows this is just the beginning. And what comes after this is going to be disastrous for someone. And he don't want it to be him. So when they asked him his name, he said my name. And then after that, he said, I don't know if you actually saw it, but I did. It was where he said, I'm not a lawyer. So all I can do is take the advice of my lawyers.
I've said this many times on this radio station. I'm not a doctor, but I'm going to play one right now. It's kind of a very similar way that I go about it. Or as I like to refer to Tug, I will always say, as your therapist, Tug.
That's right.
I highly suggest you do this.
That's right. As the Oracle of Atlanta, I would like for you to know this is the route I think you should take.
My suggestion for you.
Paging Jerome Powell. Where, sir, is the rate cut? That is next on the Morning Extra. Hope you've had a good laugh on this Thursday. Can you believe it's Thursday? Weekend just over the hill. This is the Morning Extra at Extra 106.3.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Thursday, July 10th. The Atlanta Braves homered 5 times last night, including 2 from All-Star Ronald Acuna Jr. as the team beat the Athletics in Sacramento 9-2, the final. The Braves look to take the rubber match of the 3-game series tonight. It'll be Spencer Strider on the mound against J.P. Sears. First pitch is set for 9:05. You can hear that game streaming live on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan. From the NBA, Phoenix Suns guard Devin Booker has agreed to a 2-year max extension worth $145 million. That is the highest paid extension in league history. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Conventional wisdom always had the retirement age at 65, but times have changed and people are different. It's retirement on your terms now. So, Coach Pete, when should we retire?
I think you retire when you want to retire if you have a good plan. If you retire to nothing, you're going to dwindle up and be nothing. So we need to always have goals and we need to have aspirations. And even if we are retired, have something you like to do, a good hobby, or keep a little stock account so you can research stocks and keep that mind going. Because as long as you can keep the machinery going up there on that end ahead, you're going to be fine. And so we don't need to slow down because it's hard to get it started. You ever try to start a lawnmower after the season it's been sitting in the shed?
Oh, yeah.
It takes a while to get it started sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If it even starts at all.
Usually not.
And so we don't need our mind being like that either.
A comprehensive review, no cost, no obligation with Coach Pete's local trusted advisor, Craig Chandler of Chandler Wealth Management. 800-419-6164. 800-419-6164. 800-419-6164.
Running a business is tough. Juggling clients, employees, cash flow. Why worry about IT? iTech Atlanta can keep your systems running securely and smoothly so you can focus on your business, minimize downtime, and protect against cyber threats, all at a predictable, fixed, low monthly cost. For 25 years, iTech Atlanta has been helping businesses just like yours. We'd love to manage your IT on time and under budget. To learn more, visit itekatlanta.com. We manage your IT so you can manage your business.
Calling all contractors. This is Devin Stovall of Stovall & Company, and we're here for you. We're a third-generation, family-owned and operated company for 75 years and just opened our 11th location in Canton on 9500 Union Hill Road. We're proud to provide your wholesale irrigation, nursery, and landscape supply needs. How do you envision your dream outdoor space for you or your customers? We're here to fulfill them all. We all take pride in special requests and shipping right to your job site. Here at Stovall, we have it all. Check us out at StovallInc.com.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
This is Window Nation, your source for affordable replacement windows at the highest quality. So if your old windows have you boiling in the summer and freezing in the winter, you need the pros at Window Nation with installation precision and experience that are second to none. Their custom windows are guaranteed to be a perfect fit, and they're backed by the best warranty in the industry. Go to getwindownation.com or call 866-90NATION for your free estimate. And for a limited time, get 50% off all window styles, plus pay no interest for 5 years.
Hi, this is Tara, owner and publisher of Our Town Monthly, Cobb's premier lifestyle magazine. Did you know that we have world-class entertainment right here in our own backyard?
Thanks, Tara. You're right. I am Emily Shipp, the director of the Dallas Theater and Civic Center, and we have something for the entire family. From hysterical comedians, incredible concerts, and engaging stage productions, our full show season is packed with must-see performances. And best of all at affordable prices. And we're more than just great shows. Our education department offers classes and workshops for ages 7 through adults. Along with the Dallas Theater, the Civic Center is available for private rentals like weddings, receptions, recitals, professional events, and so much more. Visit DallasTheaterGA.com as well as our social media to view our season schedule, register for classes, or book your next event today.
Wow, Emily, affordable entertainment, education, and celebrations. Check it out, friends. And remember, Our Town is your town at Our Town Monthly.
Don't let your afternoon drive get bogged down with traffic and weather breaks. Just enjoy the Kimmer Show from 3 to 6 p.m.
And if we reduce the percentage point by 1 point, we make $300 billion. I don't know whether that's good or bad for me. I have no idea. I get a monthly statement going, oh my God.
They don't charge you for that statement because that's costing them money at this point.
But the envelope's getting thinner and thinner.
I have to say, your bi-monthly pay insult.
Don't worry, it's only the Kimmer on Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
God, good laughs with the Kimmer. We just shared some of them that we had, Vernon and Jeff from Canada. Just the joy that this whole station has, and I think that's the important thing. We talk about some heavy topics. We talk about things that deserve discussion, but sometimes they're not always pleasant. So when we get that moment to smile for a little bit, that's my favorite.
I'm always looking for that balance. I think otherwise you just drive yourself crazy. Like I was thinking about the woman that I saw, and maybe we'll save it for tomorrow's show. There was this really wild, crazy woman who started talking about if America ever found itself in civil war. She's like, at her side, very crazy left side. Well, we're fine because we got all the fresh water. And you're like, how insane are you?
Yeah, what?
Huh?
Bet I could get that water.
It was just nutty to hear somebody celebrating in such a weird way that I think that's, if you let politics all day consume you without being able to find some silver lining or some fun, I think that is part of the new right. You hear that with Jesse Kelly, you hear it with Clay and Buck. You know, obviously, Glenn Beck has been doing it for years. Like, how do we find ways to laugh about some of this stuff?
Yeah.
I think that's really important to be able to do, to inform the audience, but at the same time, we point out the hypocrisy with some comedy and have some fun over it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jeray with the continuation of the laughter that you just heard from. But a more serious topic is, and we have laughed a little bit. Where's the rate cut? Jerome Powell, what is it that you're waiting on? I remember during the Biden administration when things were not going well at all. Inflation was roaring and rampant, and he gave a 50 basis points cut.
Right. In the interest of trying to help out Kamala Harris in that election, in my opinion.
Exactly right. 100%. And this is supposed to be a non-biased, non-political office as the Fed chairman, and it appears to be anything but that, Los.
So remember, the discussion has been what's going to be the impact of tariffs. Remember, you're going to have stuff not on your store shelves. You're going to have to spend this much more money. It's going to drive up the cost of all your goods from China. So far, Here's what our inflation rate is. As of yesterday, this is from Trueflation, 1.6%.
Unreal.
We're now sub 2%. The goal, the Fed's stated goal, is to keep inflation at 2% or under. That's what drives their movement of the interest rate.
Ding, 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 ding.
And so when you have Donald Trump saying it needs to come down by 3 points, like 3 full points, could you imagine what would happen if we had interest rates back at, let's say, 3.5% versus 7%, 6.5%?
It would add fuel to the inferno that you're already seeing burn. And the other thing is the bond markets. The reaction of the big, beautiful bill has not wavered the bond markets at all.
Not one bit.
For investors and other countries buying U.S. debt, it's not done anything to the bond market. And that's what the talking heads on MSNBC and CNBC and CNN, that's what they were telling you. You watch those bond markets, those bond traders, the people purchasing our debt, they're not going to do it anymore. Well, that's not changed at all.
That's not changed. Now, what will this do to the housing market? That's what we're looking to see. Because people are still moving. Like, I moved. That rate is significantly different than what it was when I originally purchased my home and refinanced it 15 years ago. And yeah, that's expected. But when you start thinking about the people that are thinking about, like, for instance, yourself, you and your wife have talked about downsizing your home.
Love to do it.
Son's out of your home. It's time to move on to the next situation. Maybe you can find yourself something really cool in one of those walkable communities.
That's what we love. That's the snapshot of what we want.
The problem is a 6.5% on whatever it is just monstrous. Versus if you were at 3%, Tug, I think y'all do it
in a heartbeat.
Yeah, within a couple of months, you'd be like, okay,
because we're just sub 3 now.
Yeah, and it then makes the buying power of the buyer. It enhances it. They're suddenly going, you know what? I'll pay you for that house of whatever it is. Let's say, just hypothetically, you bought a house for $200,000. It's now $700,000. Everyone's like, oh my God, how can I afford that? Well, when you're paying significantly less interest, suddenly the buyer has more power. Suddenly they're willing to take on more of that principal. It moves the housing market.
And then add that to what it would do to builders and the need to continue building and the need to build homes and apartment complexes and condo complexes and walkable communities. It is just, it's spokes in the wheel. Everything's working together and it benefits everyone.
And I believe this has been a trial balloon over the last 24, 48 hours because the buzz has been, listen, Jerome Powell's going to be out.
Keep seeing that. Keep hearing it.
There's no confirmation on that. There's no legitimate reporting on any of that. But it's out there. And I think the reason why we talk about trial balloons in politics, there are times when you float stuff to see what the reaction is. And as of now, when it comes to X and people in the marketplace, the reaction is, well, good.
Fine.
Because I think this administration is constantly on watch for, let's not play into their dumb narratives. Hitler, dictator, everything is, we're doing this as a team. Here's what we got going on. But if you start firing political opponents, and let's face it, Jerome Powell is not supposed to be one, but that's how he's acting. That's where I believe the trial balloon is out there. Let's see how everyone reacts to the idea of us getting rid of this guy. If he won't step down, maybe we get rid of him. And does that come across as authoritarian?
Or do we just maybe pressure him to step down? That way he just goes about it himself.
And how does that what's the reaction to that?
I don't think anybody's going to care. I do not. How many people even know that Jerome Powell is the Fed chairman? Very few.
Everyone in the housing market, everyone in the financial.
Well, no, I just mean everyday Americans.
Everyday Americans
have no idea.
In fact, I would think that everyday Americans, if you ask them what the role of the Fed is, you're going to get a lot of crickets. And I mean, until it really came into play, 20-some years ago,
there wasn't much need to know.
There wasn't much need to know. It was something for financial experts to pay attention to. It wasn't until we had the housing crisis, suddenly it was like, whoa, what is going on here?
And why did this happen? Who's responsible for it? Let's uncover every stone. And that became more of
something we then knew about.
People paid attention to. That's exactly right. Here would be, I don't want to lose Bessent in the Treasury, but Bessent has already said, I'll do whatever Donald Trump needs me to do.
You need me to step into that role?
He's already indicated that he would do it. And I can't say I'd be upset about it, because I love Scott Bessent. I think he's a genius. I think the man is brilliant. Everything he's laid out. I love the tone that he has. He's like a baseball player. Never up here, never down here, because you can't be. He has just been so steady through everything. It doesn't matter what network he's on, and when they're peppering him with questions, dude is always prepared. I guess you could say that about everyone, because you did a whole segment on Stephen Miller, how prepared he is, and he always just knocks it out of the park.
They got a lot of TV guys that are very comfortable with it.
They absolutely do. But then you throw Scott Bessent's just understanding of economics, put that guy in the role, knowing the plan that Donald Trump wants to implement, if I could say it, the plan that Donald Trump wants to implement, already having that, already knowing that and understanding and helping build it, and then you go from the Fed chair and help out and basically elevate the White House to be able to do what they want to do economically. Dude, can you imagine the power of the U.S. economy?
I want to ask a very simple question. Considering that we've seen all the TV financial analysts, the Jim Cramers of the world, remember, it's going to fall apart on Monday. You got to be ready for it. Wrong. Every single one of these talking heads that's sitting behind a desk, every single one of them pretends as they sit on CNBC that they know what they're talking about. Maybe, just maybe, I ask you this very simple question. Maybe the guy who's a billionaire who built a business, maybe he's the expert.
Maybe he actually knows what he's talking about.
Is it possible that maybe he's the expert?
I'm going to go with yes. I mean, that's just me.
I know that he's dumb and he's a buffoon and he's bombastic and he's Hitler. Premise. Maybe he is the financial expert.
What do you say all the time, Los? Reject the premise, because that's what they say about him. They say he's evil. They say it's amazing to me how a man so evil has such a coalition of people from different backgrounds, from different even points of view. He's grown a party that has the biggest tent, and me on one end of it, and other people that you would have never in a million years thought of as being a Republican are now saying, yes, I'm voting Republican or I'm voting for Donald Trump. But they have different ideas than I do. This tent has grown, not shrunk, because of Donald Trump.
Can I put my Aunt Peg hat on?
Yeah, boy, if you got any, where's the Reynolds wrap?
Well, you see, Tug, Hitler even had the Japanese.
Oh, yes, of course.
He had a big tent, too.
Yeah. Did he, though?
He had the Italians, too.
Yeah.
Don't you know about your history?
Yes, they would try to bounce that off of you.
Hitler.
And then they would go, and he's building concentration camps.
And he's building concentration camps just like Hitler.
In South Georgia and Folkestone.
We got concentration camps everywhere.
But because that's what MSNBC tells her.
Okay, there's my Aunt Peg moment.
Well, but it's the truth. It's exactly the way it would come down. When we continue on Xtra 106.3, a vile newspaper cartoonist. Who knew that those guys even still had a job? I guess. They kick the families that are mourning in Texas while they're down. Next on Xtra 106.3, 7 o'clock hour, brought to you by Van Sant Law Group. If you're in an accident, make the right call. VanSantLaw.com.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
A few things you can always count on. When Republicans try to save money on government welfare programs, Democrats will always tell you that people are going to die. Years ago, when I was still gainfully employed, the left started reporting breathlessly that 1 in 4 children in this country go to bed hungry every night. That's how bad the social safety net is working. Well, look into that, and you found out that they sent out a survey to parents. And one of the questions was, has your child ever said, I'm hungry? If the answer was yes, then that child was counted as going to bed hungry every night. Now we're getting similar hysterics on Medicaid. The Republicans want to gut Medicaid to the bone. Pregnant women in poverty will suffer. So will the children. Oh, the humanity. What is the truth here? Under Obamacare, Medicaid eligibility was expanded to prime age adults earning way over the poverty line. There was also a part-time work requirement. The Congressional Budget Office tells us now that almost 5 million adults refuse to comply with the part-time work requirement. So now the Republicans are going to force the issue, and women and children, of course, will suffer. The work requirement does not apply to anybody who is disabled or pregnant or caring for a child younger than 14. If you're enrolled in school, you're good. If you volunteer 20 hours a week, you're good. You can still get Medicaid. You're not reading that in the pages of your local newspaper or on a TV newscast, are you? Wonder why. There's an agenda that must be followed. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Fox on Tech. Will TikTok ever be banned? A law passed by Congress and signed by President Biden authorized a ban of the China-backed social media platform, citing national security concerns. The law stipulated that to avoid a ban, TikTok parent ByteDance needed to sell to U.S. operators. But President Trump has more than once extended that deadline, hoping to negotiate a different outcome for the youth-friendly social network that he often credits with helping him win the 2024 election. That deadline now stands at September 17th. Now, ByteDance says it will create a whole separate version of TikTok just for the U.S. audience, one that would operate apart from the global version and use its own algorithms. The company plans a September 5th launch, and users will need to use a new app. The Prime TikTok service would then be cut off from U.S. users by March of next year. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
Prayers in Texas. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. It's day 7 of the search for everyone missing since flash floods hit central Texas. More than 170 people are reported missing. At least 120 are dead. There's a prayer vigil at a high school football stadium in Kerrville.
As the search continues in Kerr County, Texas, for those still missing from last week's deadly floods, a crowd gathered at Antler Stadium on Wednesday night to remember the more than 120 people who died in the catastrophe. A local youth pastor spoke to those on hand, many wearing green ribbons, the color for Camp Mystic, where at least 27 campers and counselors died.
Our communities were struck with tragedy literally in the darkness, in the middle of the night.
Officials say 5 campers and 1 counselor remain unaccounted for. President Trump plans to visit the state tomorrow. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Suspensions are announced for 6 Secret Service agents over failures before the Trump assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania last July. The man accused of trying to kill Donald Trump at his golf club in Florida in September, Ryan Ruth, has a federal court hearing today about his request for new public defenders. The president confirms a new tariff on copper imports kicking in August 1st.
The president announced a new 50% tariff on copper imports. He wrote this: I'm announcing a 50% tariff on copper effective August 1st, 2025, after receiving a robust national security assessment. Copper is necessary for semiconductors, aircraft, and even hypersonic weapons, of which we are building many. Copper is the second most used material by the Department of Defense.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House. 2 people are reported killed, 16 injured in a Russian drone and missile attack hitting Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, overnight. The United Nations reports at least 232 civilians were killed, more than 1,300 wounded in Russian attacks in Ukraine last month. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. But What I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
I wake up every morning with the Morning Xtra.
And we're glad that you do. We're glad that you're here, and we appreciate your time and your ears. We're always stunned at how long people listen to the Morning Xtra and the shows that follow. I think the time spent listening, which I know is a bit of an inside baseball term, but it's important. People are spending like 33 minutes an hour listening to Xtra 106.3, starting with this show, and we're grateful. Most, I mean, because Los came from sports talk, I came from music radio, and music radio, that number is about 8 minutes. So when I see 33, I'm absolutely blown away. I cannot believe what I'm hearing.
Successful in sports is about 11 on average.
So there you go. And we're at 33, and that's because of you spending time with us.
Thank you all.
And we are so grateful for it.
And new listeners.
Yes.
If you're listening to 20 minutes, you got to pump that stuff up, man.
Get after it.
Got to be part of the 30-minute club.
That's right. Put in the reps. Build up that endurance.
And then, and we're going to stretch you out a little bit, then we'll get to working on the 4-hour club, because the 4-hour club T-shirts are coming.
Yeah, because we have a few. I know Stephanie in Cumming, she is a qualifier in the 4-hour club. She will talk about things at the end of the show that we talked about in the beginning of the show. And
if you're in the 4-hour club, let us know, because we have to personally thank you, and then we have to put you down for when the 4-hour club T-shirts are ready.
404-741-1230 at Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms.
Or at Tug Coward, at Front Office Los, at Whiskey Click.
There you go. That's how you get a hold of us. We're easy to find.
If you're listening to all 4 hours, I might give you some of my Zen points.
Woo! Oh,
Dude,
Zen points.
Now that is a sacrifice.
You too can be a Zenderella.
And get a hair dryer or...
Look at all the stuff you want.
I mean...
Oh, I'm going to check right now to see if they have an ice maker.
Oh, see, that's
wow.
good. And if they're smart, the answer is yes. Because, I mean, Los brought it up very casually, but he's so right. There is nothing more impressive than having an ice maker that makes the soft pellet ice like you get at Chick-fil-A.
This was a discussion from 2 shows ago, and I was talking about real wealth. And I said one of the ways that you're well-to-do.
It's a Lamborghini or...
soft pellet ice maker that you have on your countertop.
Now, I saw an ice maker on the countertop down the hall by the fridge near 680.
Oh.
Is that what you're looking for? Because I wasn't that impressed with that one.
I got to glance over at it. It's got to look the part.
So does that one do soft pellet ice? The one that's in the bullpen?
I don't touch their stuff.
I'm going to go look.
Oh, okay.
I'll go look during the break. Soft pellet ice maker, because when you hand that to someone who's visiting your home, they're like, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is exceptional. I told the story a couple days ago, like Lo said. We went and visited this place that was a pretty massive operation from a very prominent family. We know a family member. We got invited to spend time at this incredible location. And of all the things that they had, shooting ranges, bowling alleys, swimming pools, all the animals that you can think of in the world, a primitive campground for that could facilitate an entire company or a Boy Scout, a Girl Scout, whatever. Of all the things that place featured, which was amazing. The thing that most were the most impressed by, that people were gravitated to more than anything else. Can you believe they got this soft pellet ice?
I'm telling you, you have a pool at your house. Okay, the pool is nice. Some people say, "Oh wow, that's a nice pool." Man, that soft pellet ice, it's going to get the same reviews for about $100,000 less.
That's right.
You'll wonder about that.
I'm looking at a Cuisine Art compact bullet ice maker available on the Zen store right now. 4,050 points. And guess who has 5,000?
Oh, wow. See, he too.
Oh, hold up. You have enough to get it?
And then some.
Dude, I don't know what you're waiting for.
He might have himself an ice maker before we know it.
And especially Cuisinart, isn't that like a really good brand?
Yeah, that's a good brand. Nice. That's nice.
Dude, the people at Zen know what they're doing.
Now, it says perfectly shaped ice cubes, so I don't know if this is soft ice.
Perfectly shaped. I don't know if that's the same.
Tap the brakes.
Soft pellet is what we're really looking for.
Yeah, that's what we got to figure out there.
By the way, so yes, Stephanie checked in to say, sign me up for the club. She said, keep the points, though. She still has Camel Cash to redeem. And Kelly Wallace, who pointed out, 4-Hour Club, Winder chapter president in the house.
Let's
so thank
freaking
you,
go, Kelly. Let's go. Hitting it out of the park every day.
We got another member on the line here, too. We got Marty in Atlanta.
404-741-1230. Marty, what's up?
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, I'm part of that 4-Hour Club.
Look in there.
It says a T-shirt. It says a T-shirt. Can I get the hobo shoe?
Thank you, Marty.
That's right.
Okay, so
have to explain this too.
Yesterday, the joke was that we had a limited amount of things to give away, and that maybe it would just be one shoe, just one hobo shoe.
That's right. Marty was like, "I'll take
the hobo shoe."
You just put it on like a frame or a.
Could you imagine explaining that to your church group when they come to your house?
Yeah, for Bible study.
What is that? That's the hobo shoe I'm on.
Nice little shelf there in the living room, spotlight on it because you're so proud of it, like it would be an Oscar or an Emmy or something.
It's a real beat up Nike.
It's just an old beat up shoe.
Tore up.
Yeah. Yes, right. David's at 404-741-1230. David, what's on your mind?
Hey, I need my 4-Hour Club shirt in a 3X tall.
There we go.
Yes.
Like Jim's Slack Shack up in Dalton, Georgia, where I'm from, man. There was always, you go into Jim's Slack Shack, and that's where they had this, that's what they focused on. That was their focus, was big and tall. So it wasn't often, but a friend of mine, his name was Rhett, his dad ran Jim's Slack Shack. He, for years and years. So you'd go in there occasionally after ball practice or before, waiting to go. He'd take us after his shift was done there as a manager at Jim's Slack Shack. I don't think it exists anymore, but they focused on exactly what Dave was talking about.
Well, as he's pointing out, that's a man where he's got obviously some height to him.
Yes, sir.
So any regular 4-Hour Club T-shirt is going to be like a belly shirt.
That's right.
It's just going to be, it's not long enough.
6'5", I'm told.
6'5", that is, wow.
And if you see David on Twitter, David's a nice guy. Talk to him a lot when he calls in. I would not want to be on his bad side.
Yeah, David laying the law down.
Anybody who's 6'5",
yeah,
you can be in the 3-Hour Club, sir. You're allowed.
You ain't a beanpole.
But we'll take 4.
That boy lives.
Our boy Austin, who came in when we were talking about the telepathy tapes. If you recall that, Austin works with kids with autism and does incredible, extraordinary work. He said, I'm a 3.5-hour club member.
Well, pump that up,
dude,
Austin.
I gotta tell
You're close.
You're getting there.
You're real good. Now, probably there's work that gets involved there and gets in the way.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, just for anybody who did check out telepathy tapes, there is going to be another season, and he's got a non-disclosure agreement, so Austin can't tell us a ton about it. But we will get another season, and he will have a portion in it.
Absolutely fascinating. If you didn't, this was from months back.
Yeah, kids with autism who tend to be able to communicate with each other in a very special way.
And their parents. It's extraordinary. It's fascinating. On the surface, you may be tempted to just kind of roll your eyes and dismiss it. Don't. It will change the way you look at so many things. For the better, for the positive.
And Austin is a guy who will flat out tell you, it's not all of them. It's not all the kids. It's but the ones that it'll shock you.
This is the Morning Extra. Thanks for all the calls. Thanks for all the interaction. We could not do this without you. We don't exist without you. And we know that. And we want you to know that we're greatly appreciative of the time you spent with us and spend with us daily, whether 3.5 hours or 33 minutes or the entire 4. We appreciate it. This is one of those things where I know there's a couple left in the world, couple left in the United States. But there's not many, I don't believe, of these newspaper cartoonists. They create cartoons, typically political, and 99% of the time they're from a leftist point of view. Just look at the hometown newspaper and you get all you need. But that's a major city. This particular cartoonist, Los, that the only thing you can say about him is he's vile, is in Buffalo, New York. I wouldn't think a market size that big have a cartoonist, but sure enough, that newspaper does.
So the man's name is Adam Ziglis, and he ended up doing a cartoon that featured a person who is from Texas, swept away by a flood, holding up a sign that says help, MAGA hat on, and it also reads, "Government is the problem, not the solution." And so he's basically mocking, obviously these people. Now, the important part about this is that while you might say, well, that's vile, that's gross, what I'm telling you, this is how much you are winning right now. This is all they have. This really is it. They don't control one lever of government. And when the elections are straight up fair fights, they're losing those too. You see what's happening. Their power is eroding. Their slush fund is gone. The DNC is having to borrow money to operate. We are winning across the board. But what I'm pointing out to you is that, so what happens when we are winning? What happens when we're running up the score? These people will get more violent and more vile. And that's what you're seeing.
And that's what you're seeing.
That's what you're getting. That's how much you're winning.
The ICE facility in Texas, you saw that there. The cartoonist there. And to further Los's point, look at the people leaving places like California and New York. They're leaving in droves. They're really concerned about losing representatives in Congress because of the departure of people. And that's why they're fighting back so hard to keep so many illegals in the country, because the census, as you know, counts people, not citizens. So there's that. There's that part of it too, that people they're checking out of those places because they want nothing to do with it. You want nothing to do with it. I want nothing to do with it because it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. The things that they choose to focus on are not common sense. And that's that's my most effective way of thinking, is my common sense. I'm not well educated. I'm 3 times a college dropout.
I believe when it comes to you, Tug, your civility is tied to your morality and your sanity. Think about it. Your civility is tied to your morality and your sanity. The reason why you treat people well and the reason why you try and act as morally as you can is because you're sane, and so that's how it goes. Many of these people have snapped. And so I made the joke, when we were kind of posting our show notes. I was like, when Tug shows up here one day and starts making fun of gay people in the most vile of ways and people with handicaps, you're going to go, oh my God, like what happened last night? Like he snapped, like he's gone.
Yeah.
All right, what do you think is going on with these people that have TDS so badly and they are so consumed with this stuff? They've snapped. Their civility, their morality is tied to their sanity, and they don't have it anymore.
And they're focused on it exclusively. That's all they think about. That's all they talk about. That's all they do.
And the wild part about this for me, because I actually heard a therapist that was bringing this up, and it ended up being published in a journal, and we had it as part of the show. It was about Trump derangement syndrome, but they had to call it something different, or else he couldn't get the study published. What they found was that the more these people indulge in this, the better they feel momentarily, like a drug user. Yet it's aging them and beating them up. It's causing physical problems with their bodies. So as much as Aunt Peg can't wait to tell you about what Trump did wrong, she's doing that for herself.
It's like a hit.
Yeah. And yet the poison of it, the toxicity of it is what's ruining her. That's why when you and I talk about it, it's like we just drop this stuff and go home.
I don't live on it. It's not my oxygen. It's not the thing that I find joy in. Matter of fact, a lot of times I'll tell Los, man, this is so heavy today. I need to laugh. Like, I recognize it. I don't think they do. I don't think they recognize their need for joy. They actually need that hit, that dopamine that they get from it.
So when the cartoonist in Adam Ziglis says, here's an easy target, I'm going to mock people that I believe are Trump voters in Texas. By the way, you are talking about an area of Texas that it's not extremely red. It's not. Texas Hill Country into San Antonio. San Antonio is a very liberal city.
Do you think he spent a second trying to figure that out?
He wouldn't care.
Wouldn't care in the least.
Wouldn't care one bit.
He's trying to make a point.
And if we just want to say socioeconomic, I know you can say, well, it's a church camp. Man, if you can afford to send your kids off to a camp in some other state, good chance it doesn't mean you're just this type of voter.
Yeah, that's right. And then they tried to peg it as only a white kid camp. It is a Christian camp. We do know that. but we know the variety of children that went there that is not being taken into consideration with that vile cartoon either.
No, and he didn't have the nerve to mock any of the children, but that's essentially what he's doing.
Oh, it's exactly what he's doing.
That is what the game is. But again, because he snapped, where is the morality and the civility? It's tied to your sanity, and you don't have it anymore.
And we know from the data that shows that liberals struggle with mental illness at a far higher rate. It's not even close.
It's not even close.
They struggle with this to begin with. So you add in that extra pressure, that extra desire to have that moment of satisfaction when you're able to say what you say or post what you post. Can you imagine when that house of cards falls down? And the whole world falls down for you. There was something that I heard Jesse Kelly bringing up. I was driving my kids over to a volleyball practice, so this would have had to be in the 7 o'clock hour because they had a workout from 8 to 9. So in the 7 o'clock hour, if you go back on the app, you'll find this. Jesse Kelly was talking about what happens, the amount of people that email him and say, I used to be a Democrat, but this happened. It's the world that was fake, that was built around them. Suddenly, they noticed something was wrong with it. The house of cards.
And it all falls apart. So that's where you're always wondering. And I tied this into when it comes to the interest rates. Aunt Peg is looking around going, wow, look at what's going on in inflation. Like, it's so low if she chooses to acknowledge it. And she goes, it really didn't take that much. It took Donald Trump basically 5 months to get inflation under control. Why didn't my guy do it? Truth is, they never wanted to do it.
It was never part of the plan.
So that red pill is sitting right there on the counter in front of you. And it's saying, if you want to swallow this, you'll learn a whole lot about what's been going on. But it's scary to them. And that's why they refuse to do it at times.
And Hitler reduced inflation, too.
Right. And that red pill moment that you brought up yesterday with Bill Maher, talking with RFK, and he was like, wait. And then when he says...
As his audience is laughing, there was a moment we had yesterday where RFK Jr. is on with Bill Maher, and he talked about a Moderna study that had 12,000 people who didn't take the vaccine, that's the placebo group, and 12,000 that did. And as of now, the data shows that there's a 23% chance the all-cause mortality goes up with this 12,000.
Unreal.
And Bill Maher's first response is, but they didn't get the disease. And then it's this laughter of his audience of, but something killed them at a 23% higher clip than the other group that didn't take anything.
And they figured it out quickly.
And that's the red pill.
When you listening find joy, it's probably not in something political. When you see Donald Trump do something that you agree with, you're like, oh man, that's awesome. You find your joy in home. You find your joy in family. Like Los and I bring us into the conversation. We find our joy in our wives and our children, the activities that they're pursuing, the dreams that they have. That's where we find our joy. And when we're done with this show at 10, we sit the things down that don't matter, or at least as much. I mean, there's a reason we talk about it because it matters, but you can't dwell on it forever. We find joy in those places. Unfortunately, for my Aunt Peg and people like her, they find the joy in saying, see, I told you so.
I take the helmet and I go, well, won again today, still winning right now. I'm going to go be back tomorrow to win some more.
That's right. I'm getting AC in my basement. Let's freaking go.
And shout out to Michael Collier, who asked, 3-hour club, do you get a fanny pack?
Yes, you should. Fanny packs are back. Holy cow. I'm not wearing one, but
I have valuable information since, Los, you're in the market for an ice maker. Bullet ice is not what you want. That's what that one was called. That's what we had down the hall.
Oh, we don't need that.
No. You want the pellet ice maker.
Yeah,
these are the industry terms you need to know.
Thank you. That's
your
exactly
ice maker shopping.
My ice maker quest.
Jure is a friend indeed, is what he is. He's doing the legwork, making sure we're getting the right thing, and not wasting his Zen points.
Stacking those up.
What's Stephanie saying? Her camel points? She still got camel
cash.
Camel cash. That's it. Dude,
I'm halfway to a Traeger.
Yeah. Marlboro Miles, was that what the other was?
Sir.
Gosh, it's all flooding back. It's so good. When we continue on Extra 106.3, 8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier experts. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. Former director of the CIA. Man, that dude is getting really nervous about freedom. Next on Extra.
Live and local news talk continues at 3 p.m. with Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder. It's the Kimmer Show, only on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Don't miss the first MLB All-Star Week event at Truist Park as talent meets tradition in the 3rd annual HBCU Swingman Classic presented by T-Mobile and powered by the MLBPA Youth Development Foundation. Join fans, athletes, and alumni to watch Hall of Famer Ken Griffey Jr. shine a light on 50 of the best young ball players from HBCUs around the country on baseball's biggest stage, July 11th at 7 p.m. Get your tickets today at allstargame.com/swingman.
An investment in your home is something that will pay off in the future, but it's something that you can enjoy right now. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of all Four Seasons Garage, Entry Doors, and Windows. A beautiful new garage door, entry doors, and windows are an investment you can love every day, and they will increase your home's value, energy efficiency, and curb appeal. All Four Seasons, trusted in Atlanta for over 25 years, exceptional customer service, and high-quality work. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 seasonsgarages.com.
The EQE electrifies the essence of Mercedes-Benz values. The road to the future might not even be a road. Why not travel in comfort, with confidence, and the competence to meet every new mile with a can-do attitude? That's the aptitude of the EQE SUV. Get an exceptional offer on the all-electric 2025 Mercedes-Benz EQE 250 Plus SUV, just $659 per month for 36 months with $79.53 due at signing, exclusively from RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this vehicle and many other models during the Mercedes-Benz Dream Day sales event at RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, extended through July 31st. Special lease rate available only to qualified customers exclusively from Mercedes-Benz Financial Service through RBM of Atlanta, Sandy Springs through July 31st, 2025. Excludes tax, tag, title, and Georgia Lemon Law fees. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this and other exciting offers. Visit us at rbmofatlanta.com or call us at 770-390-0700 for details.
Hey, this is John Flading. I'm the president and owner of ATL Turf Co. We have become a highly sought-after turf installation company in the Atlanta and North Georgia luxury residential market. Big reason for that is our installers are ATL Turf Co. employees. We do not outsource labor. They are trained to be experts in the turf installation process, drainage, grading. Just go to atlturfco.com to schedule an appointment.
MLB All-Star Week is coming to Atlanta, where running is a favorite pastime. And we're honoring Braves legend number 44, Hank Aaron, with the MLB All-Star 4.4 miler, Sunday, July 13th at Center Park Stadium. Sign up, lace up, and be a part of All-Star Week's unforgettable events. All entrants score a ticket to the HBCU Swingman Classic presented by T-Mobile and a pass to Capital One All-Star Village. Register at allstargame.com by July 12th. MLB trademarks used with permission.
Good morning, Mike. What you eating?
You gotta try this.
I can hear you crunching from the next cube over.
This is amazing. I just discovered it this weekend at Lidl. It's Greek Goddess Gourmet Granola. They were sampling it, so I tried it. Then I bought 6 bags.
Wow. Is it cereal?
Can be. Or an amazing trail mix. It's great for a meal or a snack.
What's in it?
Well, they have 2 flavors, maple oat and harvest nut, which is my favorite. It's made with whole grain oats, almonds, pecans, raisins, coconut, and the sweet taste of pure maple syrup. Maple oat is a simpler take on their delicious granola. It's got wholesome oats, plump raisins, coconut, and maple syrup.
That sounds healthy and delicious.
That's why I can't stop crunching, Susan.
Greek Goddess Gourmet Granola. It's a breakfast or on-the-go snack you can feel good about. It's dairy-free and gluten-free, and with only 2 grams of added sugar per serving, even your belly will love it. Pick some up at Lidl, Amazon, GreekGoddessGourmet.com, or at specialty stores near you.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Thursday, July 10th. Over 100,000 baseball fans are expected to flow into Metro Atlanta this weekend as festivities for the All-Star Game begin. The first fan event starts Friday with a block party in the Battery beginning at 11 a.m. Several events will occur throughout the weekend in various locations around the city, so expect increased law enforcement and traffic. The Home Run Derby happens Monday night, and the All-Star Game itself is set for Tuesday night. If you have a need for speed, watch out. Operation Southern Slowdown begins next week. The multi-state law enforcement operation will be targeting speeding and aggressive driving on highways and interstates. Last year's state and local officers issued over 12,000 citations during the operation. It'll run until July 20th. And Fulton County residents spoke out against higher tax rates at the Board of Commissioners monthly meeting. A proposed increase in the millage rate and property values tripling over the past few years are to blame. The final millage rate vote is set for August. Today's weather partly cloudy with temperatures in the mid-80s, isolated thunderstorms throughout the afternoon. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra. Need to give a country call out to Debbie as well. Debbie been listening in this morning. She says she's listening all the time, and she was referencing the story in the Stephen Miller precision, how surgical Stephen Miller is when he's delivering information about the administration and things that they're doing for the American people.
Brutally efficient.
Dude, it's amazing. And Debbie was talking about, because Los had brought up the fact that traffic was down and you could actually move about in Southern California for the first time in maybe ever. And Debbie was like, and maybe if you take some of those cars off the road, some of that haze goes away and you might accidentally see a star in the sky in Southern California, Los Angeles specifically.
Stephen Miller, as like I said, brutally efficient. He had a tweet that said, "Who knew that fixing our cities only had to be done by enforcing our immigration policy?"
Huh. But it goes back to that.
You gonna fight him on it?
Dude, no, you can't.
Yeah.
But it goes back to that same thing that Donald Trump said. And I know it's been said over and over and over again, but it fits here too. We didn't need new laws. We needed a new president just to enforce the laws that were already on the books.
I mean, the chief executive, if we go to boil it down to the brass tacks of what is the president is the chief executive. There is there to enforce the laws of the land. That's it. That's the job.
I can't think of anything else that I want him to do. Just enforce the laws, keep the border safe and secure, create an environment for people to be successful, and step out of the way.
You are the commander in chief, and your job is to enforce the laws of the land. That's the framing. That's what it's supposed to be. And to think that for 4 years, it wasn't that we didn't have the laws on the books. The Biden administration just decided, and then they dared every state. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, that's right. And then, it's so easy to be like, well, they just did it wrong. No, it was with intent. They knew exactly what they're doing. It was all in the pursuit of power and making your vote null and void by bringing in people that would vote them in office and keep them in office, knowing that their voter base is dwindling to begin with.
So thank you, Debbie. I'm glad you got a chance to hear that Stephen Miller getting a chance to take a flamethrower again to what's going on.
I ran across this, Los, and it goes right along with the topic you want to discuss, the fact that John Brennan is probably very nervous. John Brennan, former head of the CIA, former director of the CIA. I saw this article. It was an opinion piece by Brian Wright, who is a former CIA officer, and he wrote all the reasons. He gave like 5 or 6 reasons he believes that his old boss belongs in jail. And it's so interesting that you brought, because I just read this yesterday.
Pretty strong.
I was like, wow. This is the guy that worked for John Brennan. Knowing what we know, just what's been publicly put out there, can you imagine what's underneath that we don't know about when it comes to Russia collusion and all the craziness that went along with that?
Do you have a couple of those reasons? Because that'll probably set up what is going on with this audio, because John Brennan was on MSNBC yesterday and he does not look comfortable. Nervous would be a little bit of an understatement.
Number one reason, Brennan lied about his use of the discredited Steele dossier. He said, this is from the op-ed, he told the Wall Street Journal in January of 2017 he never read it, and gave it no particular credence. He was lying. Because that's what it was all based on.
Yes, the entire investigation, the Mueller report, everything was based off of a dossier that was fabricated.
Then Brennan manipulated the people that would write the ICA, which is an internal intel document. We'll just leave it at that. It's much deeper than that, but that's basically what it is. He handpicked the people that he knew would write it the way he wanted to, not the people that actually worked in the field that knew what was happening.
And that was a topic that I think we got into it on Monday, as far as when that has now been looked at by the current CIA. They have said it is sloppy, it is not by the standards of the agency, and that this thing was created to be used as a political weapon.
Additionally, rushed the completion of the ICA, this internal intel document. Apparently, they normally, I have no relationship with the CIA. I would never know this without Brian Wright writing this. He said these things last usually when you're compiling an ICA like this, it would go from like 9 months to a year before it's released. They got this done in 3 weeks. That's the current CIA saying here's what was done. It's not to standards, and it was done for political purposes, and it was rushed to be used as a political weapon. Final reason that the former CIA operations officer uses is that Brennan and James Comey shared it with so many people that you wouldn't normally share it, knowing that it would get leaked to the media, and then knowing that they could go back and reference the leaking as their reason for doing what they had done.
So I was curious because, yes, that's all according to somebody who worked with him and works within the agency, and these are agency no-nos. All right, what happens when, and it's in part of an email, and we found out a couple of weeks ago, John Brennan was referring to Joe Biden as the vegetable. He was one of the intelligence officials, the 51 former intelligence officials, people that signing that the Hunter Biden laptop was not real. There was Russian disinformation. They went back to that well, and that gave Joe Biden cover during that debate to say, 51 intelligence officials have said this. All right, so now let's take a listen to MSNBC yesterday. They're going to start asking him about a potential investigation where he's involved in it. Now, is he the target? Kind of sounds that way.
I don't know whether or not there's any, validity to it. If it was a referral, if there is an investigation, presumably if there is an investigation, that people will be questioned. I would be questioned about it. But again, I've had no contact from them. But again, I testified in front of many, many congressional committees in the House and the Senate over the years. And I continue to explain exactly what we did during this process, why we tried to make sure we stayed true to our intelligence responsibilities, and that we were not going to do anything at all to try to interfere in that election. And again, it was a challenging time, but also one, I think, that the people who actually worked this, both in terms of trying to collect intelligence prior to the election, and then the ones who put together the intelligence community assessment, they really, I think, showed the best of what the intelligence community and what CIA is made of. So again, I am clueless about what it is exactly that they may be investigating me for.
Yeah, we got some real straw men according to him. Well, these officials, we were looking into some things that were doing the best that intelligence can do. No, you were trying to rig an election.
And you handpicked the people to help you do it.
And then you were trying to destroy a presidency in 2017. That is what your former coworkers are saying, and the administration is pointing out. You have been have a hand in all of this dirty, treasonous games. And so when he's on MSNBC, and I don't know if you can hear it in the audio.
Oh, yeah, you can hear it.
He's got this shake to his voice and to his hands, like and you hear him reiterate the same word over and over again.
Yeah,
that's nerve.
That's what nerves do.
That's what nerves do.
That's right. Interrogators would tell you that.
That man got up yesterday and went, "They're doing what? OS."
That's exactly right. And if anything is right in the world, and I don't know that it is, that dude will be behind bars for a really long time because he is a traitor to this country. Benedict Arnold, traitor to this country.
How do you keep the next person from doing the same thing?
Punish the one that did it the first time.
100%.
Create the precedent.
100%.
You have to. That's why you can't let any of this stuff go. It's not about, and I know people, especially the mainstream media and people on the left, they'll go, well, they're just being vindictive. No. That's the easy cop-out answer. What we're doing is building the precedent so it never happens again, including from our side.
You should never have a CIA director and an FBI director that feel more than comfortable with trying to undermine an American president and steal an election. You should never have a director of the CIA and the FBI feel more than comfortable with trying to influence and rig an election.
But before he got up yesterday
undermine
morning,
a president.
Yeah. But before he got up yesterday morning, he did, and had no qualms about it.
So you can't touch me.
But it's almost like Biden's doctor. It's the same thing.
Oh, if this ever goes anywhere, Oh, that fifth is coming right out.
We played it earlier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I plead the fifth.
After he gave his name, he pled the fifth. But it's the same thing. They felt so comfortable lying to the American people. Nothing's going to happen to us. Look at all the Democrats have done over the years. Look at their money laundering scheme that finances all of their campaigns. It finances all the NGOs that does the dirty work on their behalf that benefits none of the American people. No one in the United States of America benefited from that. But they felt so comfortable. And that doctor felt so comfortable just lying, signing his name to a lie. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
No, you don't understand. He's 100% great. It's totally fine.
Yeah, that's right. If your doctor, let's say you took an aging parent that you knew something was wrong with, and you're just trying to figure out what the diagnosis should be because you care about your parent. And you took them to the doctor, and they said, nah, nothing. It's good. He can run a marathon. Everything's fine. And then signed his name to it. You'd be like, what? I'm never going back to that doctor, ever. Why would I? The trust is gone. It's eroded. And that's what has happened with the doctor. That's what's happened with the CIA, the FBI. Where can we trust in the federal government? Up until when Donald Trump took over and started rooting some of this stuff out, where could we trust? Because I don't know the answer. As a Navy man, I didn't trust the Pentagon.
I felt like there were two things in play. First, obviously, power, and it's corrupting. It's just what happens. If you don't know how to wield it, you don't know how to handle it. Everyone has dealt with that person who sits on like your homeowner's board, and you're like, what a nutcase. Okay, like it happens at the lowest levels.
Oh my gosh.
Certainly happens at the highest.
Yes, it does. That's right. Such a great comparison.
Now, with that being said, then there's the other end of this. They knew it was only for a limited amount of time. There was no way that they were going to have a second Biden administration. You know, the plan was, they talked about, well, we'll see if he can win the next election. They'll hand it over to Kamala Harris. So they, for 4 years, did so many things that were haphazard and just shady. Just as, you know, when are you ever going to be in this position again? Okay, let's do it. Let's move forward with it. I think that ends up being that story. Even Joe Biden's doctor. It's like, I'm never going to be the personal physician for an American president ever again.
I'm going to tell him.
So I'm going to tell everybody he's fine. He's perfect.
Fine.
I'm not going to be that guy.
I'm not losing this game.
Because there's power and it's prestige and it's seductive.
Something you brought up, though, the 4 years. Look at what Donald Trump did with the 4 years that he was out of power. He planned. He prepared. Because he knew in his heart of hearts he was going to be president again. He told you that. He said it over and over again. And he is. Now think about what they had 4 years to figure out what to do with Joe Biden. And look at the disaster that they came up with. Talk about preparation or lack thereof. They have failed. They completely failed, Los, to be able to. And they had all the levers at their disposal. They had all the money.
Yep.
They had the media. They had every advantage that you could possibly have, and they effed it up.
Part of the legacy is they have all that, and they were so bad that they lost 7 swing states in the popular vote.
Oh.
With $2 billion to run, you had
the advantages.
You had every advantage, but yet you were so bad that the American people said no, thank you, no chance, no.
They were drunk on power and they were still ordering shots after midnight.
But that's a bad spot to be. We've all been there.
And Trump was in the gym.
That's right.
Trump was eating healthy.
Yeah,
Trump was in the gym.
Eating healthy.
Working on his fitness.
Okay, McDonald's.
He's a lot better shape-wise. I think they said like he was down like 20, 25 pounds since last time. So it's like, good for you, man.
Absolutely.
You realize how hard it is to be in like your 70s and drop 20 pounds without being sick?
Metabolism just turns off at like, what, 40, 45? Something. I think I heard mine turn off.
Like it powered down.
Seriously,
like it's some power station. They're like, we're done for the day, boys.
I'm telling you, I feel like, because I have had to change, what I eat, the amount that I eat. My appetite's still there, but I have to really work through it. I'm telling you, I physically heard my metabolism turn off about 8 years ago. When we continue on Extra 106.3, a Trump official agrees with you about Stacey Abrams. Next on Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Thursday, July 10th. The Atlanta Braves homered 5 times last night, including 2 from All-Star Ronald Acuna Jr. as the team beat the Athletics in Sacramento 9-2, the final. The Braves look to take the rubber match of the 3-game series tonight. It'll be Spencer Strider on the mound against J.P. Sears. First pitch is set for 9:05. You can hear that game streaming live on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan. From the NBA, Phoenix Suns guard Devin Booker has agreed to a 2-year max extension worth $145 million. That is the highest paid extension in league history. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Advance and protect. What is that in retirement planning? Well, Coach Pete is here to explain advance and protect.
What's the advance and protect strategy? Well, it's a way for you to share and participate in the gains of the market. Not all the gains, by the way. You have to trade. The trade-off is you're not going to get all the gains, but here's what you're trading it off for. You're not getting any of the losses. Therefore, you really are advancing and protecting. Or if the market's down for 3 or 4 years, you're protecting and protecting and protecting. And when it decides to go back up, you're advancing. So if you're protected when down markets and going up in up markets, you really can't lose. And then you turn that lump sum you have into a lifetime income you can never outlive, and now you're in control of your life all the way through.
A comprehensive review with Coach Pete's local trusted advisor, Craig Chandler, can show you how to get in control of your retirement. 800-419-6164. 800-419-6164. Craig Chandler, Chandler Wealth Management, 800-419-6164.
I'm Michelle Stovall, and our company has been family-owned and operated for 75 years. Check us out at StovallINC.com, or better yet, stop by our newly opened 11th store at 9500 Union Hill Road in Canton. At Stovall, we supply you with all your landscaping project needs, completely hassle-free down to delivery. Been dreaming of an outdoor kitchen, fireplace, or other custom paver project? We partner with Keystone Hardscapes for all your beautiful high-end concrete needs. We look forward to making your landscape dreams come true. Stovall has it all.
Your source for affordable replacement windows at the highest quality. So if you've got old, drafty, sticking, or leaking windows, you need the experienced pros at Window Nation. You can pay a lot less and still get the premium windows you're dreaming of. Their custom windows are guaranteed to be a perfect fit, and they're backed by the best warranty in the industry. Go to GetWindowNation.com or call 866-90Nation for your free estimate. And for limited time, get 50% off all window styles, plus pay no interest for 5 years.
MLB All-Star Week is taking over Atlanta with baseball's hottest events and coolest fan experiences, like Capital One All-Star Village, the MLB Draft, T-Mobile Home Run Derby, and the MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard. It all starts July 11th with the HBCU Swingman Classic, presented by T-Mobile and powered by the MLBPA Youth Development Foundation. And don't miss the All-Star Futures Game starring minor league baseball's best. All part of MLB All-Star Week, July 11th to 15th. Learn more at allstargame.com. MLB trademarks used with permission.
Hi, this is Tara, owner and publisher of Our Town Monthly, Cobb's premier lifestyle magazine. Did you know that we have world-class entertainment right here in our own backyard?
Thanks, Tara. You're right. I am Emily Shipp, the director of the Dallas Theater and Civic Center, and we have something for the entire family. From hysterical comedians, incredible concerts, and engaging stage productions, our full show season is packed with must-see performances. And best of all at affordable prices. And we're more than just great shows. Our education department offers classes and workshops for ages 7 through adult. Along with the Dallas Theater, the Civic Center is available for private rentals like weddings, receptions, recitals, professional events, and so much more. Visit DallasTheaterGA.com as well as our social media to view our season schedule, register for classes, or book your next event today.
Wow, Emily, affordable entertainment, education, and celebrations. Check it out, friends. And remember, our town is your town at Our Town Monthly.
From the latest breaking news to the conservative voices you know and trust, your best new follow on social media is Xtra 1063. We're at XTRA 1063 on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and LinkedIn, and pretty much any social media you scroll through every day. And we drop exclusive giveaways, new daily content, and the latest breaking news from Georgia and across this great nation. Interact with your favorite Extra personalities. Get the latest on our live events and so much more. Follow at Xtra 1063 across all your social media and keep up with Atlanta's only conservative voice.
They say time flies when you're having fun. And by golly, today has flown, and we've had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, a lot of interaction with you listening to the Morning Extra. Tug and Los until 10 here on Extra 106.3. Keep the calls coming at 404-741-1230. Checking in at Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms at Front Office Los, at Whiskey Click. You can find me at Tug Cowart. And let's keep the conversation going. Let's have some fun on a Thursday, ready to roll right into the weekend where I don't have a lot of planned. And Lo said he didn't have a lot planned, and it's good. It's going to be good to lay back a little bit. Take it easy. Slow down just a tad.
I don't want to do anything that I have to be responsible for as far as a time and a place I have to be at.
Right.
Like we have a couple jersey fittings.
Yeah.
And a couple, I think there's like a sleepover we got to drop a kid off at, so we got to pick one up. But that's about it.
Dude,
I'd like to keep it that way for the weekend.
Take it. Absolutely. Whiskey Click, what you got?
3 birthdays in the family. My dad.
Goodness.
My nephew and my sister.
All the same day?
No. Just all in July, so we just wrap it up, and I have no idea what we're doing. But I'm sure we'll have a good time.
Yeah, so right, which is that's what I've learned about you and your family. Y'all are not afraid to enjoy life, which I love.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday we had a piece of audio from 3-time loser Stacey Abrams, and she was talking about how that Donald Trump is setting up to just
he's going to cancel elections,
eliminate elections. That's what he's setting up for. He's snatching people off the street, just good, fine Americans, not doing anything, just taking them like a dictator would, and that is all setting up.
He's disappearing them.
That's right. That was the word. Yes, disappearing them. I would never think to say that for whatever reason. That's just
poll tested.
I suppose you're
it's
right.
a poll tested. It sounds communist in nature because that's what they would do for years. They would disappear their opponents.
So you hear that he's doing all this, not because he ran on it and told you exactly what he was going to do, secure the border and clean the mess up that was left by the Biden administration. He's not hid any of his intentions. So for Stacey Abrams to say he's disappearing people all in an effort to cancel elections, that's what Stacey Abrams had the courage to say because it's so ridiculous. And then not having any of that, steps out Carolyn Leavitt. Let me tell you, dude, she doesn't mince words. She doesn't need a binder. She gets right to the point, and she came in hot, and I don't mean her looks.
New right. This is what we do. Tell it like it is. Throw it in their face. Make them have to defend themselves. Because for the longest time, they were always like the name callers.
Keep you on your heels.
I'm not saying that we need to be name callers. What we do is we need to just throw it right back in their face. Now, did Leavitt call some people some names? Yeah. And did it bother me? No. But the reason why I don't is because I think that you're trying to, when you call someone like they're stupid, then you're underestimating their capabilities as an opponent. You can say that they don't understand the situation, as we saw with Ketanji Brown Jackson. But to call them stupid, you're underestimating what they can do back at you. But in this case with Caroline Leavitt, it might have been appropriate.
In your monologue, Jesse, I can't believe I heard stupid Stacey Abrams say that deportations kill democracy. Newsflash, Stacey, wide open borders kills democracy. And that's what the American people voted against. The American public witnessed an open border, illegal alien invasion for 4 years, and they said enough is enough. The vast majority of this country supports deporting illegal criminals from our communities. This administration is all hands on deck in doing that, despite pushback from these radical Democrats at the state and local level. ICE and Border Patrol are doing the work that they swore an oath to do, to remove public safety threats from our communities, to protect our nation, our homeland, and our citizens. And they face now a 700% increase in violence from radical left lunatics. And we're not going to tolerate that. Anyone who threatens or who partakes in violence against our brave law enforcement officers in this country is going to face the fullest extent of justice from our great Attorney General.
She just slaughtered her.
Stupid Stacey Abrams.
She went old Trump.
She did.
Because she'd had enough. She went old school Trump when Trump would call people Crooked Hillary or Sleepy Joe, Stupid Stacey. It's like she's been trained up.
It's known.
Yeah.
It's just, this is what you say. This is how you'll take your opponent. And this is now going to create where Stacey Abrams is not, if she wants to break the moniker, she's going to have more intelligent political dialogue than he's disappearing people.
That's not happening.
He's going to cancel elections
because then it fits.
Then it fits,
right? But none of that's true. What else is she going to?
But it forces your opponent to have to now shift. You either accept the moniker and you just keep saying stupid stuff, or you have to shift in order to make sure that it comes across as being inaccurate.
Unfortunately for Stacey, what are you shifting to?
This is the hill you've decided to die on. Yes,
that's your scarlet letter. It's not going anywhere.
You've decided to make it about voting, right?
And another thing that Carolyn Levitt brought up was how Americans are in support of it. And again, overwhelmingly, the polling suggests that. And even an 11% jump since January, an 11% jump in support of mass deportations for Hispanics in America. 11% jump just since January.
That's not a tiny amount.
It's gigantic.
Not a little bit.
That's not a blip on the radar. That is a huge jump.
Any issue that you can get to move by 10% or more, that's a massive turn within your polling public. And if you're polling at, let's say, a good sample, let's say you end up talking to 1,000 people, you poll 1,000 people, you can feel pretty good that is a good amount to say, here's what's going on around the entirety of the country.
This is the way most people feel.
If you have a good random sample.
And if you see the same polling from Signal, it will tell you the same thing. Whites across America, blacks across America, but nobody had the jump that Hispanics had across America in support of mass deportations, to Carolyn Levitt's point.
What was it that Scarlett Johansson's dog on SNL from 2017 told us? What about your friend? It's like the Akita dog.
Yeah.
And it's like if it was born here, it has nothing to worry about.
Yeah, that's right.
they're deporting all these people. If he was born here, you got nothing to worry about.
All good, taken care of. Dude, what a great skit! If you missed it, we'll share it on social media at Xtra1063. How fitting it is. And just a little background at Scarlett Johansson, she's created this in this laboratory with her coworkers and her co-scientists, a helmet that helps her dog be able to speak to humans, so you know what your dog's thinking.
And share its views. And her dog's extremely political.
And he's a Trump voter. And she's like, no, you can't, no, what?
And just one line after the next, it was completely awesome.
Yeah. Every now and then.
What about your friend?
Yeah.
If he was born here, he's got nothing to worry about.
Exactly right. So good. It's a little pug dog. Who doesn't like little pug dogs? So, I mean, that's just the cherry on top if there was one. This is the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. 8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier experts. Call Chuck and his team today at 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com. Sign up for a maintenance agreement. $10 from every agreement for your home or your business goes to Skyland Trail. Focused on people that are struggling with mental health challenges. Get evidence-based help when they need it the most. When we come back on Extra, if it quacks like a communist, it probably is a communist. Next on Extra.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
A few things you can always count on. When Republicans try to save money on government welfare programs, Democrats will always tell you that people are going to die. Years ago, when I was still gainfully employed, the left started reporting breathlessly that 1 in 4 children in this country go to bed hungry every night. That's how bad the social safety net is working. Well, look into that, and you found out that they sent out a survey to parents. And one of the questions was, has your child ever said, I'm hungry? If the answer was yes, then that child was counted as going to bed hungry every night. Now we're getting similar hysterics on Medicaid. The Republicans want to gut Medicaid to the bone alone. Pregnant women in poverty will suffer. So will the children. Oh, the humanity. What is the truth here? Under Obamacare, Medicaid eligibility was expanded to prime age adults earning way over the poverty line. There was also a part-time work requirement. The Congressional Budget Office tells us now that almost 5 million adults refuse to comply with the part-time work requirement. So now the Republicans are going to force the issue, and women and children, of course, will suffer. The work requirement does not apply to anybody who is disabled or pregnant or caring for a child younger than 14. If you're enrolled in school, you're good. If you volunteer 20 hours a week, you're good. You can still get Medicaid. You're not reading that in the pages of your local newspaper or on a TV newscast, are you? Wonder why. There's an agenda that must be followed. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
This is House Call for Health. The healthcare company for a major drugstore chain says it will no longer cover a major weight loss drug. CVS Caremark, one of the top pharmacy benefit managers in the country, says it's ending coverage for Eli Lilly's Zepbound. The company says GLP-1 drugs like Zepbound for people with type 2 diabetes or obesity have driven up the total costs for its plans. CVS says it will take exceptions on a case-by-case basis for Zepbound if it's a medical necessity. One doctor tells Fox Business some patients will need to change drugs, and for many, that's a high-stakes change that can affect long-term outcomes, trigger weight regain, or introduce new side effects. Zepbound is the brand name for Eli Lilly's tirzepatide. It was approved by the FDA in 2023 for chronic weight management in adults with obesity or with weight-related medical problems. Tirzepatide had already been approved to treat type 2 diabetes and was sold under a different brand name. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Hey, it's the Kimmer. You know, we cover a lot on the Kimmer Show, including Holy Crap at Sports with a fellow ordained minister, Pete Davis.
And I don't know about you, but I absolutely hate it when my junk falls out in public.
Oh, God, I hate when that.
Chris Robinson, the sprinter, felt when he experienced a wardrobe malfunction during a race yesterday, the old Frankenbean slipping out of his shorts in the middle of the race. But did the southern exposure stop him? No. Robinson still came in first. The Czech Republic meet, captured live on TV as the 24-year-old competed in the 400 meters hurdles, immediately felt the breeze, tried to jam his jewels back in his shorts whilst running. That worked until he crossed the finish line, fell down, and Willie and the poor boys came back for an encore.
Catch Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app. This is WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. Locally owned and heard throughout Georgia on the Extra app.
Patience with Putin. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News. As President Trump expresses frustration with Russia's President Putin for continued attacks on Ukraine, and there have been more today. Secretary of State Marco Rubio meets with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov for what he calls a frank and important conversation.
The president's been pretty clear. He's disappointed and frustrated that there's not been more flexibility on the Russian side to bring about an end to this conflict. We hope that can change.
Rubio and Lavrov met in person for about 50 minutes on the sidelines of an Asia summit in Malaysia. Brazil's President Lula calls an emergency cabinet meeting to discuss a possible response to President Trump announcing 50% tariffs on Brazilian imports. It's a hot, humid, but not rainy day for crews in central Texas searching flood debris for a seventh day. At least 120 people are dead, more than 170 reported missing.
Kerr County doesn't have warning signs after years of trying and failing to install them because of funding issues. They do have Code Red. It's a system that sends emergency alerts to phones, but residents have to sign up for it. A firefighter called dispatch asking for a red alert, but it took nearly 6 hours for the county to actually send it. By then, the Guadalupe River had already risen 26 feet in just 45 minutes.
Fox's Brooke Taylor. 27 trapped construction workers and 4 others who rushed in to help them are safe in Los Angeles.
The workers were trapped after a tunnel in a large industrial complex collapsed. According to preliminary reports, the workers were rescued after having to climb over a large pile of dirt. They were then shuttled by a tunnel vehicle to an access point more than 5 miles away. 8 workers at a time were hoisted to safety in a cage. The LA Fire Department says the workers were evaluated by paramedics at the scene but appeared to have no visible injuries.
Fox's Chanley Painter. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Extra 1063 wants to know, is this what you voted for? Call 404-741-1230 and let us know on the Morning Extra.
Tug and Los on Extra 1063. Is there anything better than the Black Crowes on a Thursday? I can't think of anything. If you can.
Been a fun morning.
It has.
Pour a little gas on that fire.
Absolutely. And the vocals of Chris Robertson don't do it. I don't know what will. The guitars of Rich Robinson.
Every city in America this weekend. Jealous of Atlanta.
That's exactly right.
Be all kind of home runs on Monday.
Dude.
Dingers.
I can't wait to watch it. I would love to go. There's that little bit of me that has entertained trying to find a ticket to go, not to the Home Run Derby, but to the actual All-Star game.
I don't know who's in the Home Run Derby because it's always there's some guys who don't want to do it. They don't want to mess up their swing.
There's only like 5 people at this point that I've seen named, and then Acuna with his, hurting his back or whatever, he has, stepped back. He's not going to be doing it because he's not going to be playing either, I'm sure. Yeah. Unless, something miraculous happens. But the reason it means something to me is that my daddy was at the 1972 All-Star Game. He grew up very modest means. He was working at a place that had a pair of tickets that the boss was going to go to the game. Boss couldn't go. They take it to middle management. Nobody can make it work. Nobody can make the trip to Atlanta Fulton County Stadium to see the 72 All-Star Game starring Hank Aaron. And then it gets passed to, just the employees, the workers. He's like number 2 or 3 in line. The first 2 say, no, I can't go to the 72 All-Star Game. They get to my daddy, and he was like, yes, I can go.
Yes, I will.
And if there's a highlight of my daddy's life, it may be that. I remember him telling me so vividly as a child, because we love the Braves. We watched the Braves every night on TBS, or we listened to them on the Atlanta Braves radio network. We never missed a game. It was part of my childhood just as much as country music was. It's just what we did. We ate dinner, we watched the Braves every night of the week. So Daddy got to come down here, went to the game. Hank Aaron hits a home run. He's told me about it my entire life. So that's why there's that little bit of me.
That's awesome.
That just wants to find the cheapest ticket to the All-Star Game that I can find and be in that building. In 2000, 99 All-Star Game at Turner Field, I believe. I was in the middle of the ocean, able to watch it aboard USS John F. Kennedy, the aircraft carrier. Got to see Chipper Jones hit that home run. Never been so proud my whole life. You're on the other side of the world, and you're able to see this game from home. It was such a blessing. So Daddy goes to 72. I watched 2000 or 99 from John F. Kennedy, and then it's here. It's finally here. I was talking to my wife about it last night. I was like, I don't want to put us in bankruptcy. I don't want to have to sell, body parts on the black market.
There goes his kidney.
That's right. I don't want any of that stuff to happen. But if we can somehow just find something that we feel like we can do, I don't care if it's on top of the building. I would love to be at the All-Star game.
I totally get it, and here's the reason why. World Series, Astros, what was it, like Game 3, Game 4, whichever one that we went where it was the Georgia-Florida weekend, and Georgia's just killing Florida. And then we all did some drinking and then headed down to the ballpark like as a company.
That's right.
So as that game is starting, like this weird emotion hits me. Not that I can really easily explain it other than it was a kids game that I grew up playing, and Dad would take me to all this, and Dad was coaching me up on stuff, and I was fortunate enough to play through high school and through college. And suddenly I'm at a World Series game. And I'm thinking, who would believe this? Like, I'm at a World Series game. Like, I'm sitting in the stands, and I was a little bit emotional about it.
Absolutely.
Now, like, I choked back a little bit of I don't know why. I think it was just the love of the sport.
So
I get it. Like, you want like the symmetry with your dad, you know?
It's so poetic. What you just laid out is so poetic. And that's exactly what I'm looking for.
That would have been the Saturday game, right? 'Cause
Saturday.
Georgia played?
Yeah.
So, buddy of mine has seats in the Chop House, or right in front of the Chop House in the Coors Light section.
Ooh, good spot.
Yeah. And he called me, and he's like, hey, man, we got to go. I'll give it to you at cost.
He hit you with a, hey, man.
Yeah. Give it to you at cost. Now, cost for him, $500.
Jeez.
So we go Saturday night. They win.
He didn't even hesitate.
That's a given.
Hell yeah, I'll go.
Put Coachella tickets on a credit card when I was 21 and had no money.
Great game.
Go to Saturday night. That game's amazing. Now we got a chance to win this thing on Sunday night. And he's looking at me. He's like, I could sell these for a lot of money. But. So he twists my arm. He did have to dig a little bit.
Yeah.
We went back on that Sunday night.
And that's the one they lost.
That's the one.
After opening with a grand slam.
Yes. It was Darno. Was it Darno or?
No.
No, I think it was Eddie Rosario who got the grand slam, if I remember. And then they blew that lead to have to send him back to Houston.
Devin, do you recall? Oh, it was Duval.
Duval. There we go. There we go. That's right. That's
Duval hits that grand slam.
And you think it's over.
The fourth inning or something. And I remember the energy in the stadium. Everybody blew up. I was climbing on the seats behind me on the thing. And
That's right.
They cut to us on the jumbo screen. The energy just explodes. And then about 10 minutes later, I just had this feeling. I was like, uh-oh.
You see the momentum shift.
This place it was dead quiet. I was like, we just blew it a little early. But the happy ending on that is Tuesday night when they were back in Houston, I was sitting right next to my dad.
There you go.
Because he doesn't get out of his recliner to watch a Braves game.
Yeah.
That's where he's playing. That's where he likes it.
I love it.
And I was sitting right next to him, and when Soler hit that, dude, I'll never forget when Soler hit that ball still hadn't come down.
I know. He hit that thing to the moon. So incredible.
I think a lot of it was what happened for me with being in that building. I think I had taken baseball at the time that I had in my life, like when I was playing college, and you didn't love it the same way anymore. Like, it was part of what you were doing. It was kind of almost
You
like
mean the work side of it?
It was kind of job oriented,
Yeah.
and then you would play it, and you went like, oh, I'm not supposed to be nostalgic about this. Man, that like nostalgia just like slammed me right in the face. Suddenly, I was like 8 years old again. I couldn't have been in a better place.
That's what hit me when I was watching Sandlot last week.
Dude, isn't that what baseball does? How can you not be romantic about the game of baseball? We didn't talk about this ahead of time, and everybody has the story. I started with my dad watching. Literally, the night before my dad died, we watched the Braves game. The night before the man died.
I think you need to go.
Dude, I'm telling you, I've talked to my sweet wife about it. I was like, we just gotta, let's find some, there's no cheap tickets, but let's find the cheapest ticket that we could possibly find. Let's wait till the last second to see if there's any drop in prices, which I'm sure there won't be. But I would love just to be there. And I want to buy a 72 All-Star hat, which I saw one in the Chop House, or the Clubhouse store rather, the other day. And I don't know why I didn't buy it then. I just took note. I was like, oh, there, I need to get that. And here's how nostalgic I've been, to piggyback on what y'all were saying. I was on eBay the other night looking at 72 All-Star Game programs.
Oh, cool.
And they exist. They're out there. I saw the guy still has a fully intact, I guess it didn't get used, 72 All-Star Game ticket.
Oh, nice.
So I would love to go.
You got to go to this.
We'll say, yeah, maybe.
And you know what? The narrative in 2021 when we won, that was the year that they took the All-Star game away from us. And so it was just like that karma that like, yeah, we got it back. And now we actually get the All-Star game. And there's nothing that
stupid Stacey Abrams
can do about it.
Do you think that if, again, because the prices are going to be insane.
I know.
And listen, I did this when it was Indianapolis, and I did this when it came to the Rose Bowl. I pulled out the Amex and said, I will deal with this in a month. It's like, I will not think about it.
Yeah, you can't.
And I was like, future me might hate past me, but this is what we're going to deal with.
It sounds like Jerry with Coachella back in the day.
Sometimes you make that move.
Yeah. Well, it's because it truly is about building memories and building those experiences that you're talking about, and Dre's mentioned, and then that I've brought up. That's what we're looking for. When you're on your deathbed, they're not going to ask you how many hours you worked.
No.
They're going to ask you, hey, what's your best memory? What's the one thing you want to leave with us?
My wife and I, we went to South Bend, Indiana for the Notre Dame Georgia game.
Y'all have made that like a thing with your marriage.
So what I ended up doing is I recognized that I cannot afford to buy this ticket. The ticket was insane.
Yeah.
And I ended up taking 2 baseball cards from my youth, making them available, sold them for like almost $600, and took that money and bought one. I could only swing one.
Yeah.
It's the most expensive ticket I've ever bought. It was $770.
Good Lord.
To the Georgia Notre Dame game. I then worked on getting a credential. I got a credential, so I sat up, way up in the rafters. And my wife was sitting...
Georgia grad, too.
Georgia grad was sitting about halfway up in basically one of the end zones where Georgia was having all their big plays. That crazy catch that they made over in the back corner, like she was there for that. And the coolest picture I have is after the game's over with, when the media goes down to the sidelines, I go walking down the middle of the field because I'm looking for her. And I see her, and she is halfway up the stadium, probably a little intoxicated, hands all the way up in the air as like the champion, and I take a picture of her from field level, and that was worth every penny of that trip.
You've got to show. I would love to see. I've never seen that picture. You have to show me it because I love stuff like that.
And so I'm with you. If you can swing it and it creates that connection, because let's face it, you don't want to disappoint your dad one more time.
Absolutely, because I did plenty. I did plenty.
He'll be looking at it going like, damn, son, you work across the street. Figure it out.
Hang on a minute.
What's your problem?
I've been to a Braves game with you.
Yeah.
I know the security's a little bit different this time around, but
the All-Star game is so different.
You're telling me you can't tug cower your way into that stadium?
I don't think so.
Not in
I don't even think it's Brave security at this point. I think it's Major League Baseball.
Yeah, even they've taken literally Major League Baseball takes over everything. So much so, apparently, for the red carpet rollout that'll happen when all the celebrities start coming in, they're going to build like a covered walkway from the orange deck where all the celebrities park, and that's where we park too. But we're going to have a covered walkway so we're not in any of the shots or not disturbing. To get from the orange deck to where we are broadcasting from, they're like so protective they don't even want us in the shots.
That's the face for radio joke is so played out, but that is the ultimate physical manifestation of that.
No, for sure it is. Oh. But that's what. So when you talk about working your way in, if it were a regular Braves game,
make it happen. Definitely.
I feel like I could figure it out. With this, it's just different. It's the Braves have almost zero control of the entire stadium. I think they probably have control of the Battery property, but everything else, Major League Baseball has a clamp down on it, even more than the World Series, which was surprising to me. I thought that part was surprising. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, what would you call it? I think normal people would probably be like, well, that's a duck right there.
Is that a duck?
That seems like a duck. Quack, quack.
MR ducks.
MR ducks. That's exactly right. But that's what we're seeing in New York City, although they're trying their best to shed that duck title.
If I said, I mean to control the means of production, would you be a little concerned about that?
If you're not, you should be.
if I said, you know what, the workers, we really need to unite. All right, would that send off a little bit of an alarm? How about if I pointed out, we need to seize personal property? Because when it comes to Mamdani, the man who is running for mayor, he has this tweet from a while back. The oligarchs who want us to return to work to goose the stock market are the same ones with thousands of luxury condos as investment properties, sitting empty while New Yorkers die on the streets and in the shelters. Seize these properties, house the homeless, enact #homes guaranteed. This is a guy who has a history of talking about communist nature politics. And seizing personal property because you don't like how the rich are using it.
And then the means of production that goes along with it. This guy is the postcard, the picture of what communism is. And yet they're trying their best to shed it. That's the one thing where we come and cross with Neil Bortz. Neil was always reluctant to use the word communist. And Neil's been off the air for several years now, as far as in everyday fashion. You hear him here every day, but it's a one segment. That's what he does. It's not like he used to when he was on, 300 and plus stations, whatever it was. He was always afraid, and he told us, Los, he was afraid to use communist because people would dismiss it automatically.
It was uncomfortable.
You can't call it anything but what it is. If you want people to listen to what you're saying, call it what it is. And I think even Neil's coming around a little bit now.
This is not old dog, new tricks. That would be an easy way to whitewash this thing. This is Neil Bortz, a man who has spent a lifetime of telling you what is going on, making difficult things easy to understand. And that man's like, they are really communists now. To call it that was almost...
It was almost a joke.
It was a joke. I'm mocking you by calling you a communist, but you're like, there's no communist traction in this country.
My father-in-law does that all the time. He's such an awesome guy, but anything that's not right, he'd be like, that's commie. That's what he always does, and it's so funny.
When we would do it, I still remember as a guy who would joke around with my friends, I'd be like, you want to do what? What? Like, for instance, have you ever brought up something that was foreign or weird to this country or weird to your friends? You want to go to that bar? What are we, communists?
That's exactly right.
You're ordering Pepsi instead of Coke?
Yeah,
you comrade. It was a joke. You didn't do it. All right, now we have real communists knocking on the door. I'll give you an example. This from 2020. This is Mamdani again. Each according to their need, each according to their ability.
That rings a bell.
Like, where is that? Well, there's somebody else who said, from each according to his abilities, to each according to his needs. That's Karl Marx. That's straight from Karl Marx.
All you need to know about Mamdani is that he is a communist. It is not. It's not a sleight of hand. It's not the joke that Los was talking about. You can't do that. It's commie. Can't do that. This dude is a genuine communist, and they're running so fast, trying to say, no, he's a socialist, as if the cousin of communism is any better, but they don't want that communism label because they know the American people are going to reject that.
So I saw this, I think it was 2 days ago, and it was a quote from, I'm trying to remember if it's like a Russian philosopher, but basically he's a historian of what goes on in that part of the world. And he had pointed this out, and I'm going to butcher this name, Alexander Solzhenitsyn.
Sounds good to me. Just say it with conviction.
Okay. Tried my best. If you want to look it up,
have at it.
Work some S's and some Z's in there. You got a decent chance.
That's right.
This is what he wrote. All the communist parties, upon attaining power, have become completely merciless. But at the stage before they achieve power, it is necessary to use disguises.
Oh, wow.
The man in Mamdani is sitting there eating food with his fingers, and it's a nice presentation, and here's who he is. I'm just a nice guy. I'm just friendly. I'm just fun. You give them this power, they're merciless. They're brutal. What they do to you.
Can you imagine the damage that he will inflict on New York City? It will make Los Angeles look like a playground. The disaster that is L.A. and the parts of Southern California, New York will be so far gone.
And to an extent, remember the campaign Joe Biden ran? Build back better. Things will get back to normal with me. I just need the power. It was a very few short months before he's standing at a podium in Philadelphia with the Marines behind him, basically saying half the country is my enemy.
Red ominous lights. That the shouting, the pointing, the scowl on his face.
You better do this or I'm going to take away your job. Like, this is the disguise. And they all wear it. And then when they get the power, merciless. It is not inappropriate to call these people communists.
Because that's exactly what they are. And it's exactly what New York City doesn't need. I am in fear for New York City because I believe he will be elected. I hope I'm wrong. God, please let me be wrong. But I don't think I am. When we come back on Extra 106.3, there's some things that have happened that we did not encourage, that we did not ask for, and yet they happened anyway. During the afternoon show, during the Kimmer show yesterday, we're going to relive those moments and hope for the best. And then we also need to talk about that crazy doctor, the one that Joe Biden had for a long time, that just pleaded the fifth in a non-criminal hearing. Next on Extra.
Did you miss Neil Bortz?
I am shocked.
Don't worry. He's live anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Oh, that radio show.
Did traffic cause you to miss some of the Kimmer show? Get it on the app.
It's all the kids talk about on Monday at school.
With anytime show replays from the Kimmer, Bortz, the Morning Extra, Clay and Buck, and so much more. Plus local headlines and breaking news. Grab the Extra 106.3 app now and start streaming.
Hey, Atlanta, it's Front Office Los. Let's talk about True Prep when it comes to finding that superstore. And that's what True Prep is, 1000 Cobb Parkway in Marietta. If you're into being ready for anything, True Prep can help you out with that. What does that mean for you? Maybe you're an outdoor enthusiast, water filtration. How do you make sure that when you're out on those trails, you got a little bit of a problem, you have an emergency situation, do you have the equipment to be able to stay hydrated? Remember, stay hydrated, stay alive. That is very important. Or maybe you're like me. I'm always concerned about weather. I've dealt with a couple of hurricanes, dealt with an earthquake a few months ago. That was crazy. I keep freeze-dried food just in case in my home. We lose power for several days. I'm going to be all right. So as a family, we have more than enough stuff that we can get ready with a very limited amount of help that's needed. That's some of the stuff you get with True Prep. Also, when it comes to personal security, their firearms and their ammo, some of the best you're going to find and the best prices you'll find in the area. Also, go to their used guns and gear section as well. You can see all of the stuff that they do have available for you. I mean, we're talking about backpacks, equipment, firearms, I mean, just anything you can think of under the sun. They have that there, and workshops that'll work with it. They got one coming up this weekend. You can check it out. That is for first-time gun buyers. Safety courses and how to prepare and how to clean your weapon. It's all about safety when it comes to that. Again, you go to trueprep.com. That's truprep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow with True Prep.
You should never need financing for a simple garage door repair, but it's happening here. Out-of-town companies have invaded Atlanta for a cash grab, charging outrageous prices. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage, Entry Doors, and Windows. Stay local and stay on budget for every opening of your home. All Four Seasons, trusted in Atlanta for over 25 years, exceptional customer service, and fair, honest pricing. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 Seasons Garages.com.
Lead data engineer positions offered by Jazz Worldwide Management Incorporated in Atlanta, Georgia. Support the organization by developing systems and processes to deliver regular, reliable, automated analytics and reports. If interested, please submit resume to felicia.levin@jas.com. Reference job ID 8530022. Again, please submit resume to felicia.levin@jas.com. Reference job ID 8530022.
It's July 10th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is National Kitten Day, when those little feline balls of fur show off their cuteness and melt their way into our hearts. Videos of cats and kittens can be found by the millions on the web and are a welcome distraction for so many of us during our day. However, the day is also meant to shine awareness on the responsibility of owning one of these little bundles of four-legged joy. So remember, if you're thinking of getting a kitten, make sure you have what it takes. Also on this date, in 1934, pitcher Carl Hubbell of the New York Giants set a Major League Baseball All-Star Game record record for consecutive strikeouts, punching out a murderer's row of would-be Hall of Famers like Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, Al Simmons, and Joe Cronin. If it's your birthday today, you share it with physicist, electrical engineer, and inventor Nikola Tesla, born in 1856. I'm Tushar Saxena, and that's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Thursday, July 10th. Over 100,000 baseball fans are expected to flow into Metro Atlanta this weekend as festivities for the All-Star Game begin. The first fan event starts Friday with a block party in the Battery beginning at 11 a.m. Several events will occur throughout the weekend in various locations around the city, so expect increased law enforcement and traffic. The Home Run Derby happens Monday night, and the All-Star Game itself is set for Tuesday night. If you have a need for speed, watch out. Operation Southern Slowdown begins next week. The multi-state law enforcement operation will be targeting speeding and aggressive driving on highways and interstates. Last year, state and local officers issued over 12,000 citations during the operation. It'll run until July 20th. And Fulton County residents spoke out against higher tax rates at the Board of Commissioners monthly meeting. A proposed increase in the millage rate and property values tripling over the past few years are to blame. The final millage rate vote is set for August. Today's weather partly cloudy with temperatures in the mid-80s, isolated thunderstorms throughout the afternoon. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
We have an awesome listener in Canada. His name is Jeff. Jeff comes down once in a while, and when he is in town, he swings through and says hello. Last time he brought all kinds of treats and maple syrup and
Canadian bacon.
Yes. Exactly. Jeff did something yesterday that we did not encourage.
No, we did not. And shout out to Vernon as well, because I did not hear this live. I was with the Kimmer in like the 3 and 4 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
I got off the road. It was getting near dinner time. I get a text message from Vernon, who has now become the official I heard it. Here's what time it is.
So you can go back and get it.
Good. Vernon, we played golf with him, about a year and a half ago. Yeah. And so it's hilarious that he just sends this over to you. I'll just give you the quote. Someone got the Kimmer after 5 p.m. with this today. Really funny because it was out of nowhere. I put, oh, really? He just says, enjoy.
Oh, see? And we're going to be blamed for this.
Right.
And we had nothing to do with it. No, we didn't encourage it. We didn't talk about it.
For the new audience.
I just want you to know.
New audience members. So this goes back to Mike Francesa, the legendary broadcaster at WFAN in New York, where there was somebody who passed away, and he just started guessing randomly on his radio show, like awkward pauses and his very thick accent. Car accident? But he just kept going and guessing and guessing. And so that car accident then just became this question mark of no matter who passes away.
That's the question.
That's the guess.
You hit me with it this morning.
Yeah, you were talking about these two people, like what they had in common, and I just said, car accident?
Which is so good.
And so that's how it works. So take a listen. This is yesterday during the Kimmer Show. And Jeff in Canada. Jeff, man, you were part of the long game on this one. Take a listen.
Anyway, Kimmer Pete Flounder, 404-74. What's the matter? We got a little something there for
Mr. Jeff from Canada on the horn.
Hey, Jeff from Canada. Hey, how's it going? Welcome aboard, sir. What's happening?
Not much. My dad, he was a fire captain in Toronto when that happened.
Oh, really?
But the guy jumped. Yeah.
Oh, no.
But I just want you to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he fell out of the window, landed down on Bay Street. Right, which is a really, really busy street right in the financial district.
I know where. I've been to Toronto. I remember. The thing I remember about Toronto was it was one of the cleanest and most dressed up cities I've ever been in. Everybody looked like they were going to a party or a business thing or something, and not anymore. Yeah, this was back in the World Series days with the Braves. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Deb was at both those World Series games.
No, can't talk about that.
Yeah. So your dad was a fire department. He covered that case when the guy jumped out the window by mistake, trying to show the window.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Exactly. But what you want to know?
Yeah.
It wasn't his death.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Car accident.
Oh, very funny. Are you hanging on from the morning show from a month ago or something? Oh my God! Holy smoke! Well, they loved it. They love to have people call the Kimmer Show and do things that they could laugh out. Now, so I'll be listening while they laugh at me in the morning. Here we are.
We did not encourage it.
I didn't even think it was the right call. I'm listening to it.
Like, how do you work in car accident?
And now Jeff did clarify, yes, because they asked, like, was this all true? He's like, yes, my dad was the fire chief. He did work this case. He's like, I just couldn't help myself. I was like,
Kimmer almost hit us with an F-bomb.
Yeah.
It was on the end of his tongue, waiting to come out, and he reeled himself back in.
But again, we didn't encourage it. We weren't saying to go do it.
No.
We left it alone. Jeff just was Jeff was lurking. Jeff was in the bushes. He was just out there like, if I just can get one shot at it,
I'm marking it in.
Yeah. Oh, very funny.
And Kimmer handled it so well, and I'm happy.
That
with
was really funny.
Just don't blame us, Kimmy. It's not us.
There was one more moment from yesterday that happened just after that. And I did grab this audio. No, because it's just funny to hear Kimmer.
We're going to get in trouble.
Discussing this.
We're going to get in trouble again.
I'm not trying to get us in trouble. But this is when we were talking about, we're trying to cross-promote a radiothon that's going on with our sister stations coming up next week.
Camp
Twin Lakes. And if you're not familiar with Camp Twin Lakes, it's such a great organization over in Rutledge, Georgia, and what they do.
Yeah, they do great work.
Every single week is a camp for kids that are dealing with different life challenges. Maybe it's cancer. Maybe it's a blood disorder. In each one of it, some of it is a camp for blind children. I mean, like every single camp.
They touch so many different places and people in a wonderful way.
And it's a chance for that week, parents to be like, I got just a regular, you don't have to worry about it. You send your kid to camp. And the counselors know how to handle any of the situations that come up. So it's just a great organization. Well, we started joking about what if we had our own radiothon,
Your own
and
extra.
what would we do it for?
By the way, have you heard the latest one? Now, this morning, they were talking about how they're doing a fundraiser. I swear I did. I must have misunderstood this. I even texted Quarter Pounder on the board this morning. He had no idea why they were doing it. They were talking about raising a fundraiser, GoFundMe money for me to get a new leg or a better leg or to fix my leg because it was stinky or something. I have no idea, any idea what that was about.
I just like in the background, you can hear Pete just start to giggle like, what are they doing? Wait, they're doing a fundraiser for your leg?
Because it's stinky or something.
You just hear Pete go,
I know, it's so good. The fact that he grabbed onto that's genius. I love that.
It was just a way to cross-promote and talk about Camp Twin Lakes and then say if we were going to ever have one.
We would do it for Kimmer and his leg.
Which there's nothing wrong with Kimmer's leg, but it seemed to touch people.
It did. It grabbed you.
Dig deep
You can't
for
help
Kimmer's leg.
And Kimmer was a good sport, and I appreciate it.
Yes, do appreciate it.
Love the Kimmer.
Yeah, me too. Listen 3 to 6 every afternoon. And if you have an extra $1 too, give it to Kimmer.
There's nothing wrong with it.
So he can get that new leg. He don't want a stinky leg. Who want? I mean, of all things in the world, nobody wants a stinky leg.
That was a dance like 20 years ago. The stanky leg.
Stanky leg. Yes, that's right. Do the stanky leg. What was that song? I forget. Anyway, I remember it being huge with the baseball kids because they would play it between games.
We need video of the Kimmer doing the stanky leg now.
Yes.
That's how we tie a bow on this.
With his new leg.
Yes.
When he gets it.
He's got one with a hoof on the end of it.
That's right.
Increases vertical.
That's right. Absolutely right.
I got a hoof down here, Pete. Look.
So I understand Dre grabbed some sound from Dr. Connor, who was Biden's physician, took the fifth yesterday. And the American people just want transparency. We just want to know what was going on. Right. He took the fifth after he said his name. This wasn't a criminal hearing and nothing. It was, maybe it needs to be because he took it so early. Just seems like a lot there, Dre.
Yeah, and I think it's always important to go straight to the source when you have a story like this because I kept seeing videos that, there was this behind closed doors deposition, but I didn't see any of the source video. So I went and found that source video, and I really... this guy's a doctor, a man of medicine. He was treating the most powerful man in the world. You would expect a little bit of professionalism.
Yeah.
And I was just aghast at his response to the questioning.
There will be one staff counsel per side asking the questions during each round. To the extent members have questions for the witness, they will be propounded during their side's respective rounds. Do you understand?
I plead the fifth.
The clock will stop if the witness needs to confer with counsel, when your counsel is speaking, and when members or staff are speaking during the opposing side's rounds of questions. We will alternate back and forth until there are no more questions. Do you understand?
No, but I can tell you that I plead the fifth.
Let the record reflect that Dr. O'Connor has invoked the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Dr. O'Connor, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
There. I said there are so many amendments in the Constitution of the United States of America. I can only choose one. I can only choose I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anything you say, fifth. Go ahead, ask me a question. Did you?
That is from 20 years ago, and to this day, hilarious.
Is the first thought I had when I saw. If I see Fifth Amendment anywhere,
that entire skit of being in front of Congress and
No, just one. I'm taking the fifth. Dude, Dave Chappelle, absolute genius, was so far ahead of his time with Chappelle's Show and continues to this day to be ahead of his time. We've talked about how important comedy is, and I think that gets looked over, man. I really do. People do not understand the mind of comics. They see the world in such a different way, and they verbalize it, and obviously it comes out funny. But they take the real things that are happening in life and put it right in your face, and you can't overlook it. You can't just look away from it. They make you contend with what's happening around you.
To me, what comedy does is exposes hypocrisy, and you just start laughing.
You can't help it.
The things that we accept that are so out there. To think that we had a doctor who decided, I'm going to plead the fifth here, not because he had conducted some crazy medical experiments, not because he did something as far as prescribing stuff he shouldn't. He just happened to be the person who said, Biden's fine.
And now we know.
And that was enough to be like,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dude, there's so many.
What criminality was he really involved in? But he was like, I don't know.
No, but that's the thing. He is protecting himself for what's coming down the road because he knows this is just the beginning, these hearings. And so maybe he's playing it the smart way. Maybe he's playing the wise way, protect his license, whatever it is. He knows this is just the beginning. And what comes after this is going to be disastrous for someone. And he don't want it to be him. So when they asked him his name, he said my name. And then after that, he said, I don't know if you actually saw it, but I did. It was where he said, I'm not a lawyer. So all I can do is take the advice of my lawyers.
I've said this many times on this radio station. I'm not a doctor, but I'm going to play one right now. It's kind of a very similar way that I go about it. Or as I like to refer to Tug, I will always say, as your therapist, Tug.
That's right.
I highly suggest you do this.
That's right. As the Oracle of Atlanta, I would like for you to know this is the route I think you should take.
My suggestion for you.
Tug and Los until 10. Getting ready to wrap up the show before turning this thing over to the Glenn Beck program, then Clay and Buck. And ultimately, the Kimmer. The Kimmer, Pete and Flounder, 3 until 6, only on Extra 106.3. When we come back, it's you. It's actually you that's the violent one. Says one U.S. leftist representative next on Extra.
The Morning Extra on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3 FM.
Good morning, it's Los. Let's talk about Cub Cadet and where do you pick up your Cub Cadet? That's over at Howard Brothers. Are you looking for a mower that's built to last? Yes, absolutely. We want to get many seasons. Well, then, look no further than Cub Cadet. At Howard Brothers, they've got the Cub Cadet lineup that delivers power, performance, and precision. But also, here's the best part. When you buy it for them, it's not just the mower. you're getting the service, the support, and a team that's there long after the sale. You want to make sure that you know how to maintain that equipment, how to take care of it each and every season. That's what you're able to get when you go to Howard Brothers and pick up that Cub Cadet. Don't just buy a Cub Cadet mower from anywhere. Buy it where you can get it serviced and taken care of. Howard Brothers, serving your community since 1955.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Thursday, July 10th. The Atlanta Braves homered 5 times last night, including 2 from All-Star Ronald Acuna Jr. as the team beat the Athletics in Sacramento 9-2, the final. The Braves look to take the rubber match of the 3-game series tonight. It'll be Spencer Strider on the mound against J.P. Sears. First pitch is set for 9:05. You can hear that game streaming live on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan. From the NBA, Phoenix Suns guard Devin Booker has agreed to a 2-year max extension worth $145 million. That is the highest paid extension in league history. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
There's a tidal wave of clean car happiness sweeping across Braves country. Tidal Wave Auto Spa is your go-to car wash destination for a game day ready ride. Experience Major League Clean at Tidal Wave, the official car wash of the Atlanta Braves. Stay clean car happy all season long with membership discounts, exclusive giveaways, and more. Visit TidalWaveAutoSpa.com/Braves for details.
My car is happy. I am happy. Tidal Wave Auto Spa.
Neil Borch here. Maybe you've already taken the steps to improve your health, maybe save your life. You're using a CPAP for your sleep apnea. I've been using one for well over 20 years. So right now, I'm here to tell you about a source for CPAPs and CPAP supplies here in the Atlanta area. CPAPs, etc. They're in Alpharetta. They have whatever you need. Roddy and Sharon are your CPAP experts, and they'll ship nationwide. More information, CPAPsETC.com.
Hi, I'm Chris Lalamia, owner of the Trusted Toolbox. Are home repairs piling up? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Relax. We've got you covered. From drywall dings and leaky faucets to deck repairs and trim replacement, we're your one-stop shop for everything for your home needs. No more juggling multiple contractors. Just call us at the Trusted Toolbox and we'll handle it. Your home deserves the best, and we don't want you breaking your back trying. Call the Trusted Toolbox today at 770-623-3097 or visit us at thetrustedtoolbox.com. The Trusted Toolbox, your one-stop shop for home repairs and more.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
This July, MLB All-Star Week is taking over Atlanta. Head to Capital One All-Star Village for the ultimate baseball experience. Test your baseball skills at Play Ball Park. Get immersed in MLB culture and interactive games. Stop to meet legends and grab ballpark bites. Plus, special perks for Capital One card holders. Catch the All-Star vibe at Capital One All-Star Village, July 12th to the 15th at Cobb Galleria. Get tickets at allstargame.com. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
Extra 1063 personalities aren't afraid to tell it like it is.
Without Donald Trump, nothing that's going on would be happening right now. Donald Trump is changing the world.
And you'll never hear us spew that violent rhetoric from the left. So don't be afraid to tell it like it is. Because we're happy to have you as part of the Extra community.
I particularly like Donald Trump's actions in getting illegal aliens the hell out of this country.
Extra 1063 and the Extra app.
I've had the good fortune of knowing Jure for, 7 or 8 years. I've had the good fortune of knowing Front Office Lowe's for 10 or 12 years. And when people ask me about them, I'm able to share, bits and pieces about them that maybe you don't hear every day on the air. But there's a checklist that I've put together. It was just on the fly, so just roll with the punches if you can, and I'll ask you guys to
one MC.
We're on the 1MC aboard USS John F. Kennedy, and I need to ask questions.
He's got an announcement to make.
That's right. It's just a like I said, I just jotted it down. It's just a collection of questions that I want to ask about you that I don't know the answer to.
Okay.
I've been fortunate enough. We'll start with Los, and then, Jure, you chime in right after. Would you take the fifth? Have you ever been arrested?
No.
Jure?
Maybe.
Okay. All right. It's not that you have to admit it.
I should have had that. Hold on, I do have it.
Jure, have you been arrested?
Oh, well,
have you ever built a pipe bomb?
No.
Jure?
Negative.
Let's see. Thrown a Molotov cocktail?
No.
Jure?
I don't think so.
To the fact you have to think about it.
Not at anything that I wanted to destroy.
I'm not saying I haven't thought about lighting a couch on fire if you win something big. I just haven't done it.
There were some late nights in some fields in high school.
Ever been involved in a riot?
No.
Me either. Jure?
Not unless you count Coachella 2007.
Which could be, yeah. Finally, let's boil it down to something even more simple.
Okay.
Protest. You ever been to a protest?
No, I don't think so.
Jure?
Nope.
Yeah, me either.
Been to a lot of events, but
the reason I bring this up is because, I mean, with the exception of a couple pauses that Jure finally came around on, he's never been involved in any of these violent ways of doing things. Although, if you were to ask Jasmine Crockett, the representative out of Texas, who's the most violent? Well, it'd be Los and Jure and me.
The violence doesn't come from Democrats, just to be clear. I mean, obviously anyone can be a criminal, but it is MAGA. It's specifically MAGA faction. Like, I don't think traditional Republicans are getting engaged in all of this, but like, even when we look at, and they don't talk about the assassination attempts anymore that took place with Donald Trump, but these were Trump supporters, right? As well as this most recent situation, they tried to flip it and say, oh, the leftists are, I'm like, this doesn't even make sense, right? But it's only like MAGA that does this.
She's talking to Aunt Peg there. She knows real people don't believe any of that.
Can I help her?
Yes.
There is no such thing as a Republican Party.
That's right. It's just...
Oh, Jerry Nadler's here.
The people who are sitting in power,
yeah,
they're all MAGA.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
There is no such thing. Lindsey Graham is just hoping. He puts on his pink slippers every single morning as he gets up in the morning, and he curls his hair and sings into his toothbrush to some Taylor Swift song. I really hope he endorses me next time.
I'm begging him to endorse me because nobody's voting for the Republican Party. They're voting for Donald Trump.
They're voting for Donald Trump.
Which we've established. But that's the thing. I went through the list of all the things, and then obviously just off the cuff, spur of the moment, but you've not been involved in anything that we've seen from the left. We've seen them throwing Molotov cocktails. We've seen them at protests, at riots. We've seen them building pipe bombs. We've seen them in backpacks. We've seen them show up at Supreme Court justices' homes with long guns broken down in those backpacks. And then she wants to say it's you. You're a Trump voter. You're the violent one.
Okay, I'll ask both of you guys a question. Have either of you ever stalked a CEO?
Never.
No.
I don't even know if I know a CEO.
Because that was one of those moments where the left went, yeah!
Let's go. So proud.
So creepy.
So awful, so creepy, so bad.
Have you ever been a part of a group that put 30 or 20 to 30 shots over at an ICE detention facility over the weekend in Alvarado, Texas?
Never known anybody to be a part.
Can't say that I have.
Yeah, that's a tough one there, Jasmine.
But that's the thing, though. She has to build. She is the messenger, but they have to build a narrative. They have to build
the world of make-a-believe.
Because Aunt Peg is finally at some point going to see, wait a minute, it's the people that I agree with doing all this, unless she builds that.
When it does happen, when the world crumbles around her. Like, this did happen for a couple of friends of mine, where when it hit that red pill moment, then the real question started. How did you know this? Why did you think that? Where I thought you were crazy. I'm like, no, man, this is really simple. This is not difficult. But you have to be rooted in being unemotional, because emotion will often take you to places that you don't expect it to and will have you think things that are not true, and they prey on emotional people, does the socialist.
And all you have to do to confirm what Los is describing to you, think about any argument you've been in where you just lost it. I mean, you just, and you said things that you didn't mean to say because you knew you're trying to dig in. You wouldn't typically say these things, but when you're emotional, you do things that are maybe out of character, out of the norm. These people are emotional all the time. They're never not emotional.
It's how they get up in the morning.
They're looking for something to be mad about.
What am I going to be mad about today? I got up this morning, and the first thing I thought was, I really want like a taco with like some tofu or something in it.
Lunch is coming soon.
Maybe. Oh, thank you to Einstein Bagels. And thank you to Camp Twin Lakes for taking care of the radio station. Because of that, I ended up finding myself a nice raisin little muffin. It was cool.
Good news.
I was happy.
But that's the thing.
This is what I get up thinking. I don't get up thinking, how do I smash MAGA today?
I got up thinking, man, it's almost the weekend. I'm going to go hang out with my buds. I'm going to hang out with Dre and Los, and we're going to do a show for 4 hours. And some people are going to listen from beginning to end, we've learned. And then others are going to check in and out, but stay for like 33 minutes on average. And we're going to engage in discussion and dialogue about things that matter. And then when it's over, I'm just going to go back to focusing on the things that I think matter.
I didn't get up in the morning, and somewhere in my mind, I thought about what I hadn't accomplished in my career, my life, and I went, I can't believe they make me work with all these white people.
I woke up this morning, and I was excited to play this on the radio.
You knew it was going. You've been sitting on that all night. I love it.
I'm excited. I'm going to be like, hey, we're going to laugh. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about this sort of stuff. But
and we did.
You want to talk about the difference. Like, I know there's this one crazy lefty out there. He'll be like, man, Los has lost it. Like, hold on a second. I've seen what you tweet.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain that you don't know what lost it is. I think I'm pretty well versed right now and like, wow, that's totally crazy.
We keep it on MSNBC in the studio usually because we know what we think. Let's see what the other side's thinking. I don't see a lot of laughter there. When's the last time you saw Joe Scarborough just yucking it up?
No.
Talking about Kimmer having a cheesy leg.
A cheesy
smelling leg.
The thing that stuck out to me about that clip is that she said the people who shot at Trump, the Trump support, like, what? What?
You're trying to implant something into Aunt Peg. So she'll go, see? That way, if she brings it up to me, she go, it's the Trump supporters that's trying to kill him anyway.
See, she's trying, Jasmine Crockett is, to establish this narrative that, see, they want him dead too. It's like, okay.
It further justifies
what they're doing.
The violence around him.
I want that dude to enjoy the next 3 years, work hard, make America great, and do all the things that he's working on doing, exactly what he does every day. And then I want him to enjoy his 80s, spend time with his grandkids, play some golf.
Maybe some of that, but I want him in guiding the hands.
Yes.
I don't want him to go away altogether.
Consulting.
There you go. Yep. Guiding. Because not that J.D. Vance is going to need a whole lot of guidance, but I do think the influence will be good.
Donald Trump will do what Barack Obama couldn't. He's going to retire to Florida, play a bunch of golf, and every now and then you'll hear him comment on what's going on around the country or have some minor influence. But like the right thing to do is to get out of the way of the next president. You didn't hear squat from George W. Bush. He went to Crawford, Texas. That was the end of that. As Barack Obama was messing up all sorts of things, you didn't hear a word from Bush because he appreciated and respected the fraternity. Barack Obama did not, because he's out there to destroy this entire thing. He retired to D.C., okay? He was still in the backyard. This is what he was trying to do. He was trying to protect his legacy. His legacy in the next 3 years, completely gone. And that,
dismantled,
along with his marriage, that is going to be one of the things that we'll be sitting back going, good. That's one of the best things about Donald Trump. He took victimhood era politics and destroyed it all.
They don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Like, we'll look back at DEI and we'll be like, really? Did we really actually consider whether or not you could get a loan based on your DEI score?
incredibly ignorant. And that's why Trump smashing it the way he has been a victory for you and me and the show and the country. We're going to continue to rack up the victories. We're going to challenge Donald Trump. Make us tired.
You bought a gun. Your social credit score is going way down, Tug. Can't get that loan now. We were in a country that was talking about this 4 years ago.
Not in Trump's America. Those days are gone. Thank the Lord. That'll do it for us for Los and Dre. I'm Tug. Y'all come back now. You hear?
Live and local news talk continues at 3 p.m. with Kemmer, Pete, and Flounder. It's the Kemmer Show, only on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.